I made this Skool.com clone where you can create courses and you can also invite users to your paid group. So each user can create a post, hello, for example, and below that we can add comments. How are you? I can add this comment. I can also edit the post content. It doesn't matter. I can drop a like. And now let's check out the courses. If I go here to Python Basics, I can see that there is Python, and I can click here beginner, a YouTube URL, so I can play this video right now. There is description of the course. There is another Python in 100 seconds. So we have course, module, and lessons, and then we can edit this course, so we can change names of everything. So Python, let's say Python, I don't know why Python 2, just Python 2. So we can add more lessons, add more modules. Here we have about our groups of software developer. Welcome to Software Developer School. We have some image, we have group members, name. Okay, so let's check out members page. So we have 2 members and we can add more members with email. Let me show you how to create a course. So you go here, course name, Golang, learn Golang. I just want to go quickly here, create, and it will create a new course. I can click edit course. I can add a module. I can go ahead and create a new group. So create a new group, $99 a month. So let me say gym, let's just say gym, and create. So now it will push me to the Stripe checkout. So I need to pay $99 a month to have this group. So we are gonna pay and subscribe. This is fake testing data, don't worry guys. And we will get automatically redirected back to our group. Let's start by creating a new repository. I'm gonna call it Next14 School and MIT license. And just create repository. I will go copy this link, go to the folder where we wanna clone the repository. I'm gonna start a CMD and git clone this repo. Then I will close this, open this, and start a new CMD. npx create -next-app at latest, and then say dot. This will create next app in this folder. If you want to learn more in detail of how to set up, go to my channel, link in the description, and watch this video, Setup and Development. It's more detailed, but you don't have to watch this for this video, but if you want to learn more about setup in more detail. Also, you can just follow me. Now, I will not explain in so much detail, but we will still do it. We don't need to go and watch that if you don't want to. So let's go to clerk.com, and let's also go to convex.dev. So you need these accounts. Let's go to dashboard, you create an account. And then I will create a new application here. I'm gonna call it Skool -clone, for example. I want Google and email. So this is for authentication. So we want users to be able to authenticate with Google and email. Let's go to JWT templates and create a new template and Convex. So we can connect to our database, our backend, Convex as backend. Press save changes, go to Convex, login or create an account. So this is your Convex dashboard. You can have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 projects, but I can have 5 projects in free tier. Okay, let's go here to, would you like to use Typescript? Yes. So we are setting up our like Next.js. Okay, so we want slint, Tailwind, no source. Just I press enter to everything. We want app router, and we don't want like to change this default alias. If you want more detail, go to the video below about setting up. Then I want to Google Convex Next.js setup and click this quick start. Now, if you want to be a good developer, you should learn how to read documentation. Now, what is this so zoomed in? Let me reset. Okay, so we already did this, and now we cd it into the folder, and we want to npm install Convex. So my Next.js is still installing actually. So when this finishes installing, let's npm install Convex. Then we want to copy this npx convex dev after Convex is installed, so now, and this will prompt you to log in into your Convex account. But because I have already logged in, so it will not prompt me. Okay, so I want to start a new project, yes. Project name, I will just keep this default recommended name. And now it's ready. So we want to leave this running, and we want to start a new CMD here, and then I want to code dot to open everything in VS Code. I also want to scroll down in this convex. Actually, let me just see. I think this is it. Yeah, that's it for this. Now we need to say convex clerk setup. So we need to connect convex database with Clerk authentication, and we're gonna read this documentation how to do it. We did all of this. We created a JWT template in Clerk, and now we need to create this file auth config.ts. So let me go ahead. So we want to go here into convex folder and create a new file, and we will call this auth config.ts and then save it. Go back to this documentation and copy this export default providers and stuff, and go back to this file and paste it. And we need to change this your issuer URL Clerk. So go back to Clerk, where we created JWT token, and this must be named same as this convex, and then copy issuer URL copied, and then save changes. Go back here, and so if you want a more detail, you can watch my video, but I will explain in more detail. But this is just connecting the authentication of Clerk with convex backend. Now in the Clerk, go here to home and copy this like this Next.js public and private keys, and go to your, let me search Control-P and .env.local. Oh wait, why don't we have, oh here, it's right here. Okay, and then just go down and paste those keys. And then let's click on Next.js and continue in docs. And we are using app router. So let's just go below and copy this. And then go to a new terminal and install. And we will also, but I think don't copy these keys from here because they are not the same. So copy the keys from dashboard, we already did it. And then we will go down and copy this middleware.ts. So copy just all of this code. And go here and say middleware.ts outer. So click on, it must be on the outside of everything, and paste. We want to remove all public routes, all ignore routes, so people cannot visit any routes on our website if they are not logged in. If you go to convex.dev, you have new project created here. So I'm gonna go here. So this will be our tables, files that we upload, functions, etc. Let's look for ShadCN UI and click here Next.js setup installation. And we already did creating Next.js app, so we need to copy this. Let's copy npm and go to a terminal and paste it. Now for me it takes some time. I'm trying to debug like why this takes so long, my CMD, when I'm trying to like create next app or init this, but not when I'm trying to npm install. Just npx takes a lot of time for some reason for me. Now we can start a completely new terminal and run our app. Npm run dev. Oh wait, it doesn't work. Oh, npm run dev. Yeah. And our app is running. So let me continue with Google. Let me continue here. And now I should be logged into my app just like that. So I successfully logged into my app. And now let's first, so we need to wrap our whole application into convex provider. So right now we don't have any backend. So we need to go here into layout, and here where it says children inside of body, we need to wrap all of this into convex client provider and close this tag, and then put this below. But we don't have this component yet, so let's create this component. So let's go to outside of everything, click some outside file and say providers / convex - client provider.ts, or sorry, it's tsx at the end, like that. So in this provider, first we will use client because we are going to use hooks and states and stuff. Okay, then we have some imports, but you don't need to import them right now. You can import them as we code, just like import from and then these libraries. Okay, so first let's define interface. Convex client provider props, and we are getting children. So in the layout, we're gonna get these children like inside. So this is the children that we will get. Okay. And then let's say convex URL is process env next public convex URL. So in our .env.local, this is it. This is the convex URL. This is the URL to our convex database, our convex backend. Okay, then we will initialize convex client. So const convex is new, convex react client, convex URL. Okay, export const convex client provider. This is our file, our class component, sorry. And we are going to get children and give it this type. And then return. First we will say Clerk provider, so our Clerk authentication. Then we will say convex provider with Clerk. So I'm importing all of these files. Here, here. Okay, so we need to give it some props. Use-auth will be equal to use-auth. Use-auth is from Clerk Next.js. And then client will be convex. This is the client that we initialized with this URL. And then, okay, so we have a few states. So when authentication is loading, when user is being authenticated, we want to show loading screen. And this loading is from this, but we will create this. This is our route that we will create, our file. So we don't have it yet. Okay, so this is loading screen. If user is authenticated, show children, so show the website. And if user is unauthenticated, also show children. So the reason I'm not gonna like copy this and paste it like this is because I don't want to show children if it's being like out loading. I just want to show children if user is authenticated or not authenticated. Now I think let's just go. Let me for a quick moment. Actually, let's first go back and import it here, and then let's create this loading. So add components auth loading. Let's copy this. Do we have components? We don't have components folder yet, so let's copy everything. And then we will go outside and a new file and just paste it components/auth/loading, and at the end is .tsx. So this will create components auth loading tsx. First, we want to import image from next/image. Then we want to create this component loading. We want to have a return statement and a main class. This is just like, so we have flex, width full, height full. So this will cover the whole screen. The loading screen will cover the whole screen. This is the loading screen that we are creating. Center everything, and we must use flex because this centering wouldn't work otherwise. Background white. Image. Source will be /logo svg. We will create this image, so let's copy this logo svg. For now, let's just copy. And then width height 200, and class name. So we want it to pulse, animate pulse, and duration 700 of animation, margin auto. I think we don't need this, but let's just keep it there. This is also to center, but I think justify center will do the same as margin auto. Okay, so let's save this file. We have this. Now let's go to public and new file and logo svg. And now I want to go to here and then logoipsum.com. And I want to copy, for example, this orange file. Just click to copy. You copied the SVG. Let's paste it here, and that's it. So now, if I go back into my, if I close this and I just hard refresh this, you see that we are displaying this logo. This is authentication logo. Now, why is it messed up? Why is it not full screen? Why is it blacked down? We're gonna fix that now, but this is the loading screen logo. Now let's return to our ShadCN installation. So we need to do this before we make the globals. I will tell you, so just remember, we need to do this before we change global CSS file. And why do we need to change that? We need to change global CSS file to make this go full screen and to be in the center of the screen. But we first need to do this. So we will choose slate. You can choose any color. We want this, yes, and that's it. It will just install dependencies. And let's go now to global CSS in our here and global CSS and here at the top. Now, one thing you need to know is when you install ShadCN, the global CSS will reset. That's why we need to first install this. Now that it's installed, let's go here and say root HTML body to be the following: height 100%. And save. So now if I go back and I refresh, Now it's full height 100%. And we also got white theme. I think the white theme is from ShadCN. So ShadCN, let me show you what ShadCN, you probably know, but let me quickly. This is, you can build your own component library. These are components that get copy pasted into your code. So for example, button right here, this is the button, and okay, so we want to go here and copy this command. So we have npx ShadCN at latest add button. But we will need some other components. We're going to need aspect dash ratio, avatar, input, form, dialog, label, popover, sonar, scroll dash area, separator, select text dash area. So we're going to need all of these components. Let's just copy all of this and paste it here to install it. So you can check out all of these components. So for example, let me see here, pop over, this is what it is. So it pops over this like menu, sonar, let's see what sonar is notifications. And form, you know what form is, avatar is this user image. So we're gonna need all of those. You can check what each of them are. That was setup. Now let's start coding our application. First thing we want to do is make user able to create a group. So in the app, we're going to say a new folder, new file, and create /page.tsx. And here I'm going to say sfc and create page. So this is, you can install this extension. It's called React snippets. Like just type in React snippets or something. You're going to find it to have this sfc. And we will just return div create page. So the way routes work in Next.js, so everything starts from app. App is the this like base root route. Then if I have create folder and inside page.tsx, then this page will be displayed at /create. So the name of the folder that has page.tsx inside. So create. And if I go here, it's gonna load because it needs to render, but this is the create page. If I misspell something, it's gonna be not found because it must be the exact name of the folder, you see. I'm actually going to delete everything in create this page.tsx, and let's start from the beginning. First, we will use client because there will be a lot of hooks. So this is a bunch of imports, but you don't need to import them now. As I always say, you can import them as you code when they get recommended. Okay, so we will export default create page or create, whatever the name of your page is. And then const create or create page. Okay, const page. So this page, user will be able to give a name of the group, and then they need to make a Stripe subscription each month to you so they can have this group. So this is, we're gonna have const pay to be use action, and then API Stripe pay. We don't have this yet. This is a part of our backend functions. We don't have it yet. We will make it. I will explain to you how to make it. Let's just for now initialize this action to be pay to be use action, and then like this. We will learn about this as we code. Okay, we want to get router, use router, and we want to get name and set name of this. So this is gonna, user is gonna set name of the group that they are creating. Handle create, so handle create group is gonna be async function. Const URL is await, and then invoke this function that we created, that we initialized. And pass in the name of the group, because this function will take in the name of the group. And this function will return the URL to that group, that newly created group, and we will router.push. We will push the user to that new URL, to that new group. After that, let's create a return statement. Okay, so first a div just with some styling, and then another div with some other styling. So contents of this div are gonna be in columns, and this will be like flexed next to each other. So inside of this first div, we have like max width, max or height, etc. First we will display logo. Now we did not create logo, we will create a logo.tsx, but soon. And then we're gonna say p font bold. And then, so you can go ahead and copy this from my GitHub. Just go to the GitHub below and copy this text, because there is a lot of text you need to copy. You don't need to necessarily write this alone, especially that you need to write these emojis. Or you can ask ChatGPT, tell it, generate me text about this and this with these emojis, etc. So, or go to GitHub and app, create page tsx and copy this. Okay, so if I go ahead and save this, I don't think it's gonna work because we have an error. So let's finish this page. Yeah, we have some errors. So below that, make a new div. This will also be like flex columns. And then create a group is a title. And then description with text small for 14 days. Free for yo, I think we are not giving it free for 14. I'm not sure. I don't know if I set it up, but we'll see. So this is what we will say, or you can just say $99 a month or something like that. Okay. Input placeholder is group name, value is name, on change, and then put in this syntax. So this name and this set name we defined here, name set name. So E is the event, and then we say E target value to be the name. Okay, and then button create with on-click handle create. So we have a few problems. Let me comment out this. Let me comment out logo, just so I can make this work and do this. So right now, a URL doesn't exist. Okay, let me comment out this router as well. Let's just see our page, and logo also doesn't exist, so let me comment that out. And now we can just see what our page looks like. So this is what the page looks like. I can input some group name, but if I press create, it doesn't do anything still. Let's go ahead and uncomment this logo and uncomment this. I press Ctrl K, Ctrl U, and let's copy this. So in components logo, we need to go to components and logo.tsx. It will be use client, and then import CN from @libutils, import use router from next navigation, and then logo props will be optional class name to be string, and then export const logo, give it the class name and type logo props, return. Div class name is gonna be CN, and then cursor pointer, font bold, text 5XL, and class name. So if we have class names, so just append the class names here. This CN works so you can append like this to Tailwind CSS, like variables to Tailwind CSS classes. That's what this CN is for. And then span, class name text thread S, and then just copy this a bunch of times so it's school for me, and then change color each time. This is the logo. So here we got this logo in our page, and if this is red underline for you, just delete this logo and import it again by pressing Ctrl space. If you press Ctrl space, it will give you these options. Now let's create some backends. So we can create a new group. There is a table, and let's implement Stripe payments. I want to first go ahead and uncomment this payment, and then uncomment these two. Okay, so API Stripe pay. So API Stripe pay. So that's gonna be in our Convex folder. We make stripe.ts, and then inside we need to make pay function. But before that, let's define our schema for our table. So let's make new file inside of Convex folder, everything, schema.ts. First, we will make some imports, define schema and define table from Convex server, and then v from Convex values. Then let's say export default is define schema, pass in object, users, so first table is users, token identifier, this is Clerk token identifier. Each user will have a unique one, so we can identify the user name, profile URL, that's gonna be optional, vstring, about, optional vstring, and email. Now just go back to Clerk In Clerk dashboard, we're gonna go to user and authentication, email, phone, username, and say name is obligatory, required. And we're gonna make this required and save changes. Next, we wanna be able to search users by this token identifier. So we need to make an index. The name of the index is by token and token identifier field. Then we have by email and email. So we want to search by email as well. Okay, let's create table groups. Name of the group, description, optional, short description. So we will have both about, URL. I forgot what this is used for. We'll see. And then owner ID. So one user can have multiple groups. This is how we keep track. One-to-many relation. Price, this is monthly subscription price. Member number, and so on. This is the subscription. So each group, so when owner creates a group, they need to pay for having that group to you. So this subscription ends on. So this is where the subscription for the group ends, which date. Subscription ID to control the subscription. Okay, we want to be able to search groups by name with field name, index by owner ID, and then owner ID, by subscription ID, subscription ID. Okay, so now we want to create many-to-many relation between groups and users. And so this table, each entry in this table will have user ID and group ID. That's how we'll keep track of which users are in which groups. It's a many-to-many relation. We want to be able to search by user ID and by group ID. Then we have posts. So each group will have posts. Title of the post, content, author ID, group ID, and lesson ID. This is optional. This is if posts are connected to lessons, to video lessons. Because you can put a post below video lesson in Skool.com. Let's go below. We want to search posts by title, by group ID. Okay, then let's go comments. So each post will have comments. Post ID, content, author ID. We want to search by post ID. Okay, then likes. Each post will have likes. Post ID and user ID. So post ID of the post and user ID who liked. We want to search by post ID. Want to search by both post and user. So when we want to delete a like or remove a like, we want to search by that post and that user. Then we have courses. These are courses are contained of lessons. Title of the course, description, group ID. Then we have index. We can search by group ID. Then we have modules. So each course contains modules and modules contain lessons. So title of the module, course ID. Search by course ID. Okay, then we have lessons. Title of the lesson, description, module ID, and then YouTube URL. So each lesson we will have, for example, unlisted YouTube URL link. So a person can just post their unlisted video from YouTube. And we want to search by module ID. And if I save this, this should be updated in our, like this, where we are running npx run dev. And let me real quick go here, convex, data, and we should have all of the tables here. And it just updated, so we have all of our tables, comments, courses, groups, lessons, etc. So we can add the document, but we will do that not this way, but programmatically. Now let's go to the stripe.ts file. Here we will implement logic for subscriptions. So when somebody creates a group, they need to subscribe, pay a monthly fee. So first we will do some imports. Now, as I said, you don't need to do them now. You can do it as you code, but let's install this package. So copy this stripe, go to your terminal. Not this one, go to an empty terminal, say npm install Stripe and enter. So while that installs, let's continue here. We will define a type, metadata, that's going to contain group ID, because when we initiate a checkout, when somebody needs to pay, in the checkout, we will send the group ID of the group they are paying for to the Stripe. When the checkout is successful, when we receive payment, then Stripe will return back to us the group ID that got paid for, and then we can use that. First, we will start export const pay. So let's just code this export const pay. This is the name of our action, our function. That's going to be action. Action is imported from generated server. You can just go ahead if you want to learn more. Actions, convex, docs. And if you want to be a great developer, you need to learn to read documentations, but actually reading documentation is very simple. So you can learn more about actions, but you can also learn more by just coding with me, and I will explain everything. Action. So here we want to define an action. It's going to have some arguments. So what we need in arguments is name of the group. So this is this action pay we will call here when we are trying to create a group. So pay and then send the name of the group. Okay, so those are arguments. Then handler function. Inside we define what happens when this action gets called. Inside of this handler function, it will be async because we need to await some responses. It gets context arguments. Context is from this handler, and arguments are these arguments. Okay, first, let's get the currently logged in user, Clerk user, with this. So Clerk user is await context auth get user identity. So we will use this everywhere. So remember this, important. This is how you get currently logged in user. Okay. And then not just the currently logged in user, but we also need to get the currently logged in user that stored their data from database. So the entry from the database. So this is like Clerk logged in user, and this is the same user but in the database that we will store. So this user is in our schema.prisma. This is the object, user object. Okay, so that's this user. Okay, if not user or not Clerk user throw new error, user not authenticated. So we don't have this yet, but we will make it. I will explain what this run query is. If you don't know, we will explain everything. Okay, so if not Clerk user dot email verified, throw error, user email not verified. Okay, const group ID is await context, run mutation, API groups create. Okay, so we want to create a group. So we want to say context.run mutation. Mutations are for creating, deleting, mutating data in the database. And we will call this function that we don't have, API groups create. So just like here, we say export const pay is an action. We're going to have export const create mutation not in Stripe.ts, but in Groups.ts. So we will code this soon. Okay, and then passing arguments, that's going to be name is going to be equal to args.name to this mutation. So this mutation will return the group ID once it creates a group in the database. Once we get here in the groups, new entry, it will return group ID. If not group ID, group not created. Some error. Okay. Then we need to, once we create this group, we need to tell the user to pay for it. So we need to create a new Stripe object. So Stripe is new Stripe, and then process and Stripe secret key. We actually don't have this. We need to put this into our environment. But this is our secret key. And then API version, I'm going to use this one, the latest. And then return Stripe URL. So with this, we are going to generate a URL, payment URL. And we will return this payment URL. And then that's going to be that URL. And we will push to that checkout URL. It's going to be a Stripe checkout page. Go back to Stripe.ts. Okay, so this is just initializing the Stripe. We did not create this session or anything yet. So, const domain. This is domain of our website. So when user finishes the paying, we want them to return to our website. So we need that domain. That's gonna be process env next public hosting URL. Let me go to .local.env, say like this, next public hosting URL is equal to http this / localhost column 3000 and then following / I think. So that's gonna be the URL that we will return the user to. Or you can just go ahead and copy from here, or like this part. Okay. So that's the domain. Okay, so at this, I have this comment that you don't need to write this. I think I shouldn't have this comment here, but when I was coding this, I think I changed this to somehow. Yeah, this is any. This shouldn't be any. We will fix this soon, so you never want to use any as Typescript types. Okay, so const session can be any for now, but we will change it. Await Stripe checkout sessions create. This is how we call this create checkout function. And pass in some arguments. That's gonna be object. Mode subscription. It can be mode payment, whatever. You can click here. I explained this a lot in my setting up video in the description below, how this Stripe works. If you want to learn more. Okay, mode, and then line items. This is like the items that we are selling. This is going to be our subscription. It will be array. And we will have one element, one object. It will be price. It's going to be process env Stripe subscription price ID. So let me go to my .env.local and just paste it here like that, and we will change this later when we create price in the Stripe dashboard. Okay, quantity 1. Okay, customer email will be clerk user.email. If you set this argument, then users will not be able to change their email in the Stripe checkout page when they are checking it out. So just be aware of that. If you want them to be able to set email themselves, then don't include this. Metadata, yeah, this is important. Metadata group ID. So we want to know like which group got paid for. And this group ID, where does it come from? It's here. So we are getting the group ID when we create the group. Okay. Success URL. So after the checkout is successful, then we go to domain / group ID. We just want to send them to the group. Cancel URL, just domain. And that is it. That's our pay action. Now let's create current user and groups create. Or I think maybe we should first go and set up Stripe. So let's go to stripe.com. I know that some countries don't have Stripe as option, so you can look for something like Lemon Squeezy. Lemon Squeezy. They take a bit more. Like money to percentage, but they are also good. Or you don't need to have payments. Maybe I don't know. You could look into Lemon Squeezy. Okay, let's go to dashboard. Make sure to enable test mode because you don't want to be testing with your real money because some companies, payment processors will regard that as money laundering. And you don't want to like, why would you test with real money? You have test mode that works the same as real thing. So let's go here to more on the side and look for products, product catalog. Let's go ahead and add a product. And I'm gonna say name Skool subscription. So it's gonna be recurring. I wanna set this to 99 a month USD. And then that's it, monthly. VAT 27% for Hungary. Yeah, okay, so yeah, just go add product. Password. So this is your Skool subscription. If I click here, we need to copy this price ID. If I go ahead and copy this, let's go back to my .env.local and then paste this price ID here. Let's go back here and developers. We need our API keys. So here in env.local, we will paste next Stripe publishable key. make it same letters, don't make a mistake, next stripe secret key and next stripe webhook secret. You're gonna go ahead and copy the publishable key and paste it here. Then reveal test key, make sure you are in test mode. Copy that and paste it here, and webhook secret, you don't have it yet. So webhooks are going to happen when payment is successful, then we will send a webhook to our application. So go here to developers webhooks, add an endpoint. Now go back to your Stripe and copy this convex, so resolute, eagle, whatever is for you, convex.cloud, so copy that. That's gonna be your endpoint. And instead of .cloud, say .site, and then /stripe. So when payment is successful, the Stripe will send the webhook the notification to this route /stripe on our website, and we will create a route to read that webhook. We will create this /stripe route. So select events to listen to. Okay, so let's search for checkout. So checkout session completed, and intent. Payment intent, what was it? Payment intent succeeded. I'm pretty sure it's this one. So let's add events. We can always edit if it's not true, but let's just add endpoint here. So now when payment is successful, we will send information to this webhook. So we will make this, but not now. Let's just click here and signing secret reveal and copy this signing secret and paste it here, Stripe webhook secret. Now you need to copy all of this and go to your convex.dev and in settings, environment variables, add and just paste, and all 4 should be paste. Save all, because we will use our functions from Convex, and so our functions that we upload to Convex will need to have like these secrets. Let's go ahead and create API users current user and API groups create. So let's copy these users. That's gonna be a new file. In Convex folder, make a new file, Users.ts. Now listen, this is important because we will be using this a lot of times. Export const current user, that's gonna be a query. We're going to import this query, but not now. You can import it immediately. So this query will query the database and return some data. And so we are passing in object, how to query. We need to define some objects. So arguments, no arguments, because we are going to just get the currently logged in user. We don't need to pass in like any arguments to this query. Handler function gets a context. Okay, then we say identity is equal to await context auth get user identity. So this is going to get the identity of the currently logged in user. Okay, and then if no identity, throw new error, called select. This is should be called current user without authenticated user. And then we want to return something. So what we want to return is await context database. So we want to query for the current user. Dot query users. This can all be in one row, but this is more like readable. Dot with index by token. So if you remember, I told you that in users, we want to be able to query by this field, token identifier. So we made an index by token identifier. So we'll use that index. And we need to use this syntax, q arrow function, q equivalent, token identifier, comma, identity.token identifier. So this identity of the currently logged in user has this token identifier. And we will go through our database and get the user that has this unique token identifier, and then return the whole row, the whole entry into the database. And then .unique. So .unique will execute this query, and it also, if there is more than one users with this unique identifier, .unique will throw an error because .unique can only return one result. And let's now import this query from generated React, and all of the errors are gone. Now, as you may notice, the problem is we don't have any users stored in our database, and we don't have any function to store users. So let's now make a function that's going to store the users if they are logged in, signed up for our application. So above this current user, I think you can do it below, but I'm gonna do above. Export const store. That's gonna be a mutation because mutations are for storing data, deleting data, editing data. And queries are just for reading and retrieving. The reason you wanna use query is whenever something's like this user, if the name of the user gets changed and we are displaying this user on client, the query will immediately pull new changes in the database and show them in client. That's why you don't want to use mutation or action or anything else for reading data. You want to just use query because query will automatically update the client as for every client of every user as data in the database changes. Okay, so mutation. We don't need to pass in any arguments, but you should always pass empty object as arguments because Convex is still doing some like validation. So you don't want to just completely remove this, even though it would work. You want to pass empty object. Handler function. Check identity. So get the identity of the currently logged in user. It's same as here. And then if there is nobody logged in, call store user without authenticated user. This is pretty clear. Just rewind and watch this part again. If you don't, same thing. Const user await. So we are getting user from database. We first want to check if he already exists in the database. So with index by token and then token identifier, this token, this is the same as this. We are just returning it immediately here. Okay, so we are getting the current, we are checking if user is already stored in the database. If user is not null, so if user exists, then we will just return user ID. It doesn't matter what you return. I'm going to return user ID because I'm also going to return user ID if it doesn't exist, if we store the user. So just to be consistent. Okay, so if the user is null, so if there is no like return, if this doesn't get returned because user is null, user doesn't exist, then we will say await context database insert into users table and pass in the object. Token identifier is identity.token identifier. Name, identity.name, exclamation mark. I will say why. Profile URL like this. Email like this, exclamation mark, because both name and email we made obligatory. If I remove this exclamation mark, it will tell me, well, we did not, just a second. Okay, so first let's just return user ID and let's import this mutation. Now, if I go ahead and remove, now it says name, string or undefined is not assignable to type string. So this expects string, but this is string or undefined because name can be undefined. But name cannot be undefined because in Clerk dashboard, we made name required. But this Typescript doesn't know that, so we will just assert that name will exist 100%. Okay, so this is for storing the user. I will show you later how and where we will use this. If we go back to Stripe.ts, we see that now there is no error. There is no error in API get current user, but there is an error in groups. So let's copy this and create this groups create method. So in Convex folder, create groups.ts. Let's start with a few imports. Import v from Convex values, import mutation from Dodge_generated server. Okay, export const create mutation. We want to be able to create a group here. This is create a group. Args, okay, so arguments are name of the group, which is string. Don't forget to invoke this. Description of the group, which is optional string, so description is optional. And then handler function that gets context and arguments. This is the same. We are checking if user is logged in. I already explained this. And then we are getting the currently logged in user. Everything's same. Okay. If user is equal to null, if there is no, like this user is not stored in the database, which is not going to happen, but if the user is not stored in the database, just return. You can also throw an error, but I just want to return. I don't want to throw an error. Okay, and then we want to create a new group. So context database insert groups. And when you create something, you need to use await, but when you create, it will return group ID, ID of that new created entry. Okay. Passing in arguments. Name, arguments.name. Description, arguments.description. Owner ID is user.id, so that's why we took the user, the currently logged in user. Price 0 for now. We will change this. I honestly think I should delete this because I think we are not using this price anywhere. Because we made the price like in Stripe and we said 99, so we are not using this, but I will just keep it for now. You can delete it if you want. I think this is something I forgot to delete. And member number 1, because when we are creating, there is only one, the owner. He can add members later. Okay, now we are creating a relation, many-to-many relation. So we need to keep track of users and groups. So like relation between which groups and which users have like which groups, I think. Yeah, this is a relation for like groups and users. So I will explain if you don't understand. Context database insert user groups. So if user is in a group, we will just make an entry, user ID and group ID. So now we can query, like if we have a user, we can get all of the groups that user is in. Or we can query, if we have a group, we can get all of the users that user like in the group. Okay, that's it. Return group ID. I'm just returning group ID when I create. Yeah, we need to return group ID actually, because here you see I'm getting group ID, and then I'm passing that group ID into metadata, so we know like which group is paid for. So I think this works. If I go back to my application and then create group, well, this is not correct. Let me change this because we are going to just like pay immediately, not 14 days free trial. I will just say here $99 a month, cancel anytime, hassle free, like this. Group name, dragons. Let's go create. So this should, okay, error immediately. Let's see what the problem is. User not authenticated. That's because in my data, users, I don't have myself in the database. So let's write that functionality. Let's go here into like app. Let's completely delete this whole page, TSX. We don't need that. And inside of app, let's make a new file, and it's gonna be homepage in brackets. So, and then page TSX. So when you have something in brackets, that means this is not looked as a route, this is ignored. So it's as if this page is directly in the app. So this page is gonna be the home, the actual like slash root directory. This is not gonna be slash homepage. It's gonna be just slash because homepage is in brackets. So here, we're going to use client because we're gonna use hooks like use-mutation from Convex. There is a bunch of imports, but you don't need to import them right now. You can import as we code. Okay, so export default function home. Okay, const store. So use mutation API user store. This is the store function that in users that we created here, this store mutation. So we need to like register or like initialize store mutation. Okay, and then use effect. So I want to store the user immediately as the page loads. So use effect. Sorry. And then const store user. So in store user, if you want to, in use effect, if you want to have async function like this store, then we need to use like async like this. Okay, so and then just await store. And this may be a bit confusing. I think I explained this. So you are just initializing, declaring the mutation here. But you need to invoke that mutation as if it's a function. So, and then pass in empty objects because in users, no, okay, so it just in users, it's taking, store is taking an empty object as array. And then we need to call this function, this async function like this. This is how you can do it in useEffect hook. And then this happens like when store changes. So this is going to happen like as soon as page loads. So we are calling this async function from here. And then return. And I want to say main, and then flex, max, width, height, justify everything in the center. Group list. Okay. It seems to me that we will not actually need this navbar component at all. I don't know why I have it here, and we don't need next image. So now I'm not sure why this API is throwing the error. Let me delete this. Okay, this is a bit weird. So I'm gonna delete all of that and then import API again, but it doesn't work. I think this just might be some visual bug. I think this should like exist. Yeah, okay, now it's fixed magically. Okay. So currently we don't have this group list. So let me comment this out and comment this out. I just want to say hello, just like that. So this should be our home page because these brackets are not a route. So let's go back to home page, and as soon as I load this, I should get stored here. Hello, and then I should, yeah, I'm getting stored. So as I explained, as soon as we load, so use effect, as soon as we load, we are calling this store function, and that store function, let me repeat just real quick, it's checking if there is a user, if the currently logged in user is stored. If it's stored, return. If it's not stored, store the user, and that's it. Let's go to /create once more and check. Hello group, whatever, create, error. Let's go, let's see. Okay, we forgot, we need to go to our .local, and we need to also give it this URL, the next public hosting URL as well. So here in settings, convex, variables, add this public URL, and that's it. Okay, let's try again. So let me refresh. I don't think we need to refresh. Hello, and then create. And it looks like it works. Let's go. Now this is your testing Visa testing cards. It's in test mode. Make sure it's in test mode. So you use this to test. And then if I go and process, and payment is successful, and we are getting redirected back to our app. Or no, this is a group ID. So a new group is created. So let me go here into data. And if we go into groups, there are 2 new groups. Now we only paid for one, so one of them is not paid for, so it will be inactive. But you can, if you want, you can make it so that if the group is not paid for, then it doesn't even get created. But I'm actually going to create groups, even if they don't get paid for, they will just be inactive. So right now we are here at /groupId. This is the ID of this one of these groups. And we want to actually not have 404 not found, but let's make a page here. So let's go into app, new file, in brackets, in square brackets, groupId /page.tsx. This is a dynamic route, so this route can be anything. And we will be able to, in this page.tsx, we will be able to get this group ID as variable. So this group ID, which is going to be this ID, is going to be a variable in our page.tsx. So in group ID page.tsx, we will first use client, a bunch of imports, but you can import them not now, but as we go. Okay, interface chat page props. I call this chat page, but it should be group page props. Okay, parameters, so params. I think it must be like the exact word params. And then group ID is gonna be ID of groups. Okay, let me explain. We can get this ID as a parameter as passed through the interface to our page. So all the parameters in the URL will be passed as parameters. And so the parameter that we have is group ID. And this ID is like from our schema.prisma. So this is going to look at our schema.prisma. This must be one of the actual IDs that exist in this groups table. That's what we are validating. It must be an actual ID. Okay, let's make, oh my god, I messed up the names here. So const community, you should name it const group and then export default group. This is the name of the page, but it doesn't matter. But const group is equal to params, extract parameters, and give it this type. Give it this type. Okay. Then we want to actually, based on this group ID, we want to we want to get the group from the database. Based on that, so use query, API groups get. We don't have this, we will make this function and then pass in the ID of the for the group. That's going to be parameters.groupId because we have parameters here. Okay. Const current user is use query, API users current user. We made that and passed in empty object. Const router is use router. From next/navigation, very important. I forgot to tell you, but it must be next/navigation. Const post is use query. So API posts list. We want to get all of the posts for this group. But we will make this, we don't have this yet. And then pass in the group ID. So all posts for this group ID. If group is undefined, if you have a query and it's undefined, convex query, then it's still loading. But if it's null, then it's not found. And if the group is not found, we want a router.push back to home root. And then just return. Okay, handle edit. There will be an edit button that lets us edit the group. Router push. So when I click handle edit, we want to push to / the group ID / edit. So, well, let me see. Here it will be like group ID / edit. And guys, I'm also thinking maybe I should leave this page on this side of the screen so you just see like what's happening. There is no default export. Yeah, there is, but ignore this error. We didn't finish coding. Okay. Const members text is group members. Okay, so it's gonna say like 1 member, 2 members, 3 members. So if its number of members is 1, then it's member or members. If it's not 1. Okay. If post is undefined, loading. Okay. There is no null. We'll see why. So I'm not checking if posts are null. Or I think posts. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Then we will just define like some outer div. And then we will say with full create post modal. This is a model for creating a post, for writing a post. We imported it, but we don't have it yet. So it's from _components create, but we will create this. You will be able to import everything. Okay, below that, make a new space y, a new div, and then we're going to list all of the posts. So post model will be on the top, and we are going to list posts below. So post map post, 1 post. And then post, and then passing key. If you are mapping, every element needs to have a key. And then post is equal to post. Okay, so this is going to display our post. So each post will be displayed. And then about side. So this is a component on the side to the right of the posts. And we are going to, this is just like about. So there is edit button. There is information about group, there is information about members, and information about current user. Well, we'll see what this is. I forgot, but this is just some information. So let's go ahead and start coding these things. So let's go into API groups and create get. So let me go here and say groups, groups.ts, and we will make a get. I don't want to waste too much time. Export const get is query. Arguments will be ID of the group. This is optional. And then handler function. If there is no ID, return null. And then group is going to be await context get just pass in ID, and then you don't need to pass in name of the table, and then return group. So this will let us get group by the group ID. And let me import this query. Okay, we got that. Let's go back and say API post. So let's go and create a new in the convex. We're gonna say posts.ts. Okay. List, so we're going to list all posts. So we are going to, but in a group. So arguments will be group ID. Handler function. Okay, so this is one trick. You can pass in argument here, args, or you can also just extract group ID. So you don't need to say args.group ID. You can just like extract it here. Now you can use just group ID in the handler function. Const posts is equal to await context database query posts with index. Okay, so by group ID. This is the syntax. Querying by group ID. Collect. So this will execute and collect everything. So now this is gonna be posts. Okay. So now we also wanna add like author, posts with authors. So we wanna add the whole user object to the post. We're gonna say const post with author, await, and then promise all. We wanna resolve all promises. Posts map, async post. For each post, we're going to say const author is await, get the whole user object based on this author ID. So this is user ID. So we get the whole user object, and then if there is no author, author not found, and then we will return post and author, but we are going to spread the post. So this, I cannot show you right now, but this object, what we are returning, this will have, let me go to schema.prisma, schema.ts. So posts is going to have all of these fields, and then below that like author as well. So this is not going to be like post and then like object. This is going to be like spreading each field here. Below that, post with authors and comments. So we want to get all comments also. So also promise all, post with authors map. So we want to go through each, and then comments, query comments with index by post ID. Want to query all comments of this particular post. Collect everything. Comments with authors. Oh my God, yeah, we want to also get this. Okay, so we want to go through each comment now and get the author of the comment, because we're going to display a post. We're going to display comments, and for each comment we're going to display like the author, like the name, image, etc. It's getting a bit complex, but it's not too complex. Const author is we will just get the comment.author ID, so we will get the user object. No author, author not found. Return spread the comment and then author. So that's going to be comments with authors, and then we will return post, and comments will be comments with authors. Okay, that's going to be posts with authors and comments. Check this out, guys. Boom! Posts, sorry for yelling. Posts with authors and comments and likes. God, oh my God. Okay, let's go. Promise all. Posts with authors and comments dot map. We want to get all the likes now. Query likes by post ID. Return post likes. I think we got everything. And then return posts with authors and comments and likes. Okay, this is a list of posts with authors and comments and likes. Right now it says any, but let me import this query. I'm going to import this query. I'm going to import this v. And I think it will not say any anymore. Yeah, now, oh my, yeah, it shows the full type. Likes, comments, and then 7 more. Author ID, everything. I think you are understanding like how it works, and I think you will understand better. So let's create new mutation to create a post mutation. Okay, arguments are gonna be title, vstring, content, vstring, group ID, ID groups. Okay, handler function. We're gonna say context and extract all of this stuff. First, check the identity. We do this every time. Check if user is logged in. And then get the user from the database. We do this all the time. If no user, user not found. Okay, post ID. So now we are creating the post. So insert posts, title, content, author ID is user.id, so this is the currently logged in user. Group ID is group ID. So I want to just return post ID of the created post. If the table name of this like row is same as the variable like title, you see title is same as in schema.prisma title. We don't need to do this, we can just say title. So I think these two are the same, so we can do this. But I need to go ahead and import this mutation. Okay, so in our page TSX for group ID, our posts are working. Now let's make some of these things. So let's go with create post modal. Let me just copy this whole thing. So underscore components create post modal. So go here and next to this page TSX in group ID, create a new file and say underscore components and create post modal at the end.tsx. When you have underscore, this is going to ignore not only this components route, but all of the routes inside, all of the folders inside. So homepage will only, in brackets, will only ignore like this route. But if you have routes inside like about, it's gonna be app/about. But underscore will ignore this and everything inside as routes. Okay, create post modal. My mistake, guys. We will delete this create post modal. Let me just copy the name. We will delete it like that, and we will instead say new file and create post modal without .tsx and then /index.tsx like that. Okay, in the index.tsx, first a bunch of imports that you can import not now but later. Interface create post modal props is gonna be group ID, so we will pass in group ID for this create post. Okay, export const create post modal, extract group ID, give it this type. Const use-api-mutation. We are going to define this ourselves. So we can use here use mutation and then say API post create as we were using use mutation. But this is a custom file that we will create that will let us have mutate function and pending. So as the mutation is being mutated, we can use pending to disable a button. So button is disabled while the mutation is going on. That's why we're gonna make this custom hook, use API mutation. Okay. If you don't understand, I will explain further. Okay, const title, set title, use state string. This is clear. Content, this is use state. Ask ChatGPT to explain this. I mean, if you don't understand, this is variable and setting the variable. Handle post. When user clicks post, if there is no title, return. Console log title sent. Oh my god, why did I write this? Anyways, you don't need this console log. Okay, then await create post. And pass in the. So we are calling the mutation that we just created a few moments ago. It's this like create mutation from posts. Title content group ID. If you wanna know like what is this mutate and then column create post. We are just renaming this mutate function to create post because this is returning mutate and pending, and we are renaming mutate to this and pending to this. We created the post. Handle key down. So this is when I press the enter key. I also want to create the post when I press the enter, not just when I press the button. So E event is React keyboard event, HTML button event. If key is enter, E prevent default, and handle post. We will just create the post. Return with full dialog. Dialog is like ShadCN component. Go and check. But you can just wait and we can see together what it is. It's like a pop-up dialog window where you can create a post. Dialog trigger. So when you click anything inside, what's inside the dialog opens. Okay, div. And then W shadow. So I gave it some kind of weird shadow. Just copy this. This is like the shadow. Copy this. Padding, colors and stuff, text. And then it says write something. Just text. So when you click this, whatever this is, it's not showing. it's gonna show you the post. So let's continue. Actually, let me do like this. I wanna comment this. I wanna show you how this works. So I wanna comment this as well. I wanna comment all of this. Let me comment all of this, and let me comment this. And back at group ID page, let me comment all of this and group navbar. And we need to go down and let me comment this and comment all of these posts. So now there should be no errors. Let me refresh. Yeah, so this is the shadow that I was talking to you about. And then if I say this, dialog opens. Let me continue. So dialog content, we need to specify what content is in the dialog. Oh my God. So dialog header, create a post. A dialog description, share your thoughts with the community. And then we have some input. And then placeholder title, class name, value title, on change, set title. If I go here and click this, create post, share your thoughts with the community, and then we have title. Okay, below the input field, let's have text area, placeholder content, class name, value content, on change, set content. Okay, next, other flex, dialog close. So when we click this cancel, we will just close the dialog. On click handle, on click handle post, disabled create post pending. This is all, this should not be here. This should not be here, I will fix this. Okay, so dialog close again. Yeah, button, create, handle post on click, disabled, and etc. So when we close, when we click cancel, we don't want to like create a post. So remove these two, just cancel, and then, so my text area wasn't installed for some reason. So let's say npx ShadCN -UI at latest add text area, like this. And let's also create this mutation, use-api-mutation. So copy this hooks use-api-mutation and go outside of app, outside of everything, and click use hooks use-api-mutation and then .ts, just ts, no, tsx. No, it's just ts.ts. Let me try to explain, this might be a bit confusing. Use-api-mutation, go back here. If we go here, I'm passing a mutation function. And I want to get the mutate that, so I'm initializing it. And I want to be able to get this function that I can call. But it's called create post. So I can call it here. Okay, so let's go here and add some imports. Use mutation from Convex React and use state from React. Export const use-api-mutation. Mutation function is any. I don't know how to make this work without any. If you know, please tell me below. But this is the mutation function. I set it to any that we're going to pass into this use-api-mutation. Okay. Const pending, set pending, use state false. API mutation is use mutation, mutation function. This is the mutation function that we passed. It's this. As you remember, we use use-api-mutation instead of use mutation. We did use mutation earlier, but we didn't have pending. We want to have this pending state. Okay, so we are calling use mutation to declare this mutation. And then const mutate, payload any. Okay. Mutate. Let me show you mutate. Okay, so mutate is actually here. We see mutate, and we rename it to create post. So this create post is the mutate that we are defining right now. And the payload is this object. So I think this can be done through generics, but I'm not sure. Okay, so payload is any. Okay, so we call this mutate payload any, and then return API mutation payload. So API mutation is this use mutate. So we are invoking this use mutate that we defined. Okay, and then just return result. So result will be whatever the result like. If we are making a new entry, the result will be ID. Catch, throw error. Finally, set pending false. And return mutate and pending. So we are returning mutate and pending. Here, mutate and pending. And mutate is, when we call mutate, we call this function. If it's confusing, we will do this a few more time, like we will use this, so it was confusing for me in the beginning, but later I figured it out. If this is confusing, you can just use mutation here instead of use API mutation, but you will not have this pending. And I'm using this pending to disable this button, create button. Okay, let me go ahead here and say title, new post title, whatever, content, hi, how are you, create. Okay, so there is no errors that I see. Let's go here into posts, and we have a new post, content, how are you, title, new post title. So it works. What we want to do now is in this page TSX of group ID, we want to list all posts. Let me uncomment this. We want to list all posts. Let me see. I think, yeah, let me uncomment this one. Components, post modals. So let's copy this. Go here to components. Let's just new file post-modal.tsx. Let's begin. Some import. And then interface post props. Okay, so when we are listing a post, we're gonna give it post, which is doc post. So this is whole post type. And we wanna extend this post type. So this post type is from our schema.ts. We wanna extend it with likes, which is gonna be doc likes, comments, doc comments, array, and author is doc users. Okay, export const post. Post, give it post props, return div postcard. Postcard will just display the post. So we pass in the post, we pass in some class names, we pass in modal. So we will be able to, oh wait, in modal is false. So I think we are not even using this in modal at all. Okay, let's just write down comment list, post is equal to post, and I will just delete this because we are not using in modal. And that's it now. This is not gonna display post because we don't have these two, postcard and comment list. So let's go ahead and create this postcard. It's gonna be just like this. In here, next to post modal, let's close this. Next to post modal, postcard.tsx. Okay, first, a whole bunch of imports, but we are not using a bunch of these, so I think you don't need to don't import them like this, just import them as you code. Interface postcard props. Okay, post, we're gonna receive a post, but we're gonna extend with all of this. So I should have declared this like at one place, but it is what it is. So we will declare this again. We will extend type post with all of these. Okay. Class name optional string. In modal boolean, this is going to, we don't have this anymore. So we will fix this. Okay, export const postcard and extract all of these. Postcards to give it type postcard props. Current user is API users current user. Okay. Time ago, format distance to now, post created time ago. So post created 2 days ago, 2 hours ago. This is from this date fns, which we need to install. Let's copy this. Go to our terminal, npm install date fns, okay? So, like count, posts likes length. Comment count, posts like comments length. Okay, so another mutation. This is API likes add. So use mutation API. I don't think we have this. But anyways, use mutations API. And then we will just rename mutate to like and pending to like pending. So we have this pending. You can also just say use mutation, but you will not have this pending. And then we have removing the post. API post remove and mutate to remove, pending to remove pending. Handle like will just, when we click like, it will call this like and pass in the post ID. So this like is actually this mutation. It's going to be add, and this add will take in the post ID. Handle remove. Remove, pass in post ID. Handle attack, attach. It should be attached to lesson. Okay, dialog. Dialog trigger open. If when we click this open, it will open. Dialog content. Dialog header. Title, are you absolutely sure? This action cannot be undone. Why did I not change this? This is default dialog stuff, I think. But I don't know. Wait, this is useless. Did this even do anything? Well, we'll see, sorry. Okay, const is owner. Post.author.id is equal to currently logged in user.id. So we are checking if the currently logged in user is owner. We will see what the hell this is. Okay, return space. Okay, this is it. Just copy this. And then if the user is owner, we will create some, we will say, we will give it option to delete, handler remove, class name, text total 300. So we will just display this at absolute position. And then pen box, we will handle attach to lesson. Let me just check for a moment. Yeah. Okay. That below that, before is owner, we're gonna say avatar. So we wanna show who posted the post. Avatar image is gonna be post author profile URL. But if it doesn't exist, because this can be undefined, then we will say avatar fallback. Post author name character at 0. So the first character of the author's name will be shown instead of image. Below div, post author name, so we want to show the author of the name. This is image, this is name. And time ago, so 3 hours ago. Below that, let's add some div. I'm adding another div. And post title. It looks like this is, what is, this is just like a circle. This is going to be a circle next to post title. I will show you. Scroll area, max height 450. So this is a scroll area for content of the post. Post ID. So this is a custom component that we will create. Post ID, initial content, editable, owner, and is true. And true. Just say is owner. You don't need to say and true because that's always true. Class name. So editable means like if we're just checking if this is owner, so he will be able to edit the post. Okay. Scroll area is just like the limiting, like the scroll area. I just want to like make it look better. Scroll area makes the scroll bar look better. Okay. Make 2 new divs. Thumbs up. Okay, this is likes for likes. Size 20, cursor pointer, on click, handle like. Like count. So I want to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to comment about like this content. I'm going to comment a bunch of this stuff. I just want to show you what it looks like, and I will say in modal it's not necessary. And now that's it. Let me just also comment this comment list in post modal and comment this comment list. And now I think posts should be listed. Yeah, this is what it looks like currently. We will fix this UI, but my name 14 minutes ago, new post title content, no likes. Okay, if I go here and say Software engineers need to study hard. Content. I studied for 2 days. Create. You see, we created a new post. Now, let's go below the likes. Let's continue. Make a new div and message square. Let me see what this is. Comment count. Okay, so this is comments. It will not show now because I have some errors. So this is comments, comment count, and then separator. So that's it. We just need to implement separator is just a line between each post. So we need to implement this API likes add and API posts remove. So let's go ahead to posts. So posts.ts. Okay, posts. Export const remove mutation. Arguments is gonna be post ID. Handler. Delete all comments that are connected to this post. So all comments, we need to query all comments with index by post ID. Collect. And then go through each of them and delete them. So await promise all comments map. Await context database delete comments ID. So we need to await and resolve all promises because this is async and we are having await inside. So we want to use promise all because we have await inside. We need to resolve all of the awaits. Delete all the likes. So const likes await. So query all likes with index by post ID. Collect. Promise all again. Likes map. Delete all of them. And then delete the post. If we go back, now we have the remove function. Now let's go to create this likes file. So in Convex, add new file, likes.ts. Yeah, likes.ts, yeah. This will only have one method. So import this stuff. Okay, export const ID, add mutation. Arguments is gonna be post ID. Handler function, check the currently logged in user, get the user from the database, same thing we always do. If user is null, return, there is no user in the database. Check if user already liked the post, so await context database, query likes, with index by post ID user ID. So we need to check if it exists. So if it exists, it must be unique, it must be only one. If it's multiple, this will throw an error because one user in one post, there is only one of those two. Okay, so if liked, we want to remove the like. So context database delete liked ID. Let me remind you in schema.prisma. So what is likes? Likes is a many-to-many relation table. It has post ID and user ID. So when user likes post, it just adds this post ID and user ID, which user liked which post. So we want to delete it if it's already liked, and we are like calling this add function. So this shouldn't be even called add. It should be like toggle or something like that. Okay, and then if it's not liked, so elf, if it's not liked, then we want to insert into likes. Post ID is post ID, and user ID is user ID. So we want to store that user liked. There is no error anymore. Now let me real quick, I want to comment this out again. And let me, I think you should not have these problems, but now if I press like, it's liked. If I press this like, I can cancel my like. Now let's create this content. Let me undo everything, but whenever I do this in modal returns, so I want to remove that in modal, and we need to create the content here. So go outside of app, components, and here content.tsx, because we're going to use this at multiple places, so I want to put this in general components file. So we want to go here to blocknotejs.org docs quick start, And then I want to copy this, so it's npm install @blocknode/core and @blocknode/react. Let me go ahead and install all of that stuff. In content, use client. A bunch of imports that you can import later, not now, but you need to import this. So import quotes @blocknode/react/style CSS. Import that manually. You can read more about here in Blocknode Quick Start. Down below, it tells you like how it works. Let's continue content. So interface content props, post ID is gonna be, and then initial content. If there is no content in the post, or then we don't need the initial content. Okay, editable. Editable if the user is owner, it will be editable, and then class names, optional. Styling. Export const content. Extract all of these fields, give it this type, make body, and then const update. So update the content. API post update content. We'll make this later. Editor. Use create block node. We imported it here. So we need to initialize the editor. Initial content. That's going to be in column initial content. If it exists, so initial content, so we are checking is going to be this, so JSON parse initial content if initial content exists. If it doesn't exist, it will be undefined. Okay, handle change when the content changes. If editor document, if it exists, the editor exists, this document. Then if content length is JSON stringify editor.document.length. If content length is less than 40,000, and also there will be a lot of like other like JSON stuff. This is not 40,000 characters of your content. This is, besides that, there is a bunch of like characters used like for JSON storing and stuff. Okay, then we want to update. So we are calling our mutation update. Post ID content is going to be JSON stringify editor document null and 2. I forgot what this does. I think this is just like how to stringify this. I forgot what this null and 2 is. You can ask ChatGPT. I can't now. Okay, toast. So else. So if error is, if it's longer than 40k, then content is too long, not saved. Duration 2000 milliseconds. Icon alert octagon. If we are using this toast, make sure to go to app layout and add toaster like this from Sonar. So this will display your toast alerts. Okay, return block node view. Editor will be editor. Editable will be editable. Theme light. On change handle change. Class name is class name. And that's our content. We just don't have this API posts update content. So let's copy that. So we are gonna go ahead and say update content will be mutation. Arguments post ID and content. Handler. Check the identity of the user. Okay. Content will be args content.trim. We just want to trim our white spaces and stuff at the end. If there is no content, content is required. If content is more than 40k, content is too long. Post, we want to patch the post. So arguments.post ID, and then we want to update content with arguments.content and return post. And that's it. And I think this should work. So if we try to load, it says unexpected age, how are you, not valid JSON. So it is not a valid JSON. So let's go to post and delete all of this. Delete all, because we're going to check out the content. This is not going to be the shape of our content. Okay, now let's go ahead and refresh this. Content will be in JSON format. Let me see, just this and this. Let me see if it's gonna, yeah, it currently gets stored like this again. So it's not valid. So we need to fix this. Let's continue with the page in group ID, and then I will just uncomment this about side. So let's do this first. And that's gonna be here. And let me copy this about side. And in the components, make a new file about side.tsx. First a few imports, then about side props, group, it's gonna be document groups, current user, document users are null, handle edit, so when user clicks edit, and members stack, so 2 members, 3 members, just the text. Export const about side, and then extract those props, give it the type, about props, and return. Okay, make a new div, it's gonna be 360 pixels wide. Then h1's group name, and then we're gonna say private group and lock. If I go ahead and save all of this, I wonder, then group.short description, yeah, you see it here, and then group number of members, you see here 1 member. Then current user question is not equal to owner ID. Then we have a button join. If the current user is owner, then we have button edit. That's it. This is that about side. I have a button edit. If I click it, it will push me to the group ID/edit. Let's make a new file in group ID components, group navbar.tsx. And then in that file, use client, some imports, export const group navbar, const router is use router, const group ID, so router from next/navigation, and then extract group ID from parameters, from URL parameters. It must be the same as this group ID in square brackets name. So this URL, this ID. Okay, and then if there is no ID, then just route push back to homepage. Return, make so this is a navbar, so 50 pixels high navbar. Button, that variant ghost, on click will push to group ID, /group ID, and then it will say group. Also button classroom, it will push to /group ID /classroom, another button for members, and another button for about. Let's save this. So now let's put this into our group page. So in group ID, make a new file layout.tsx. We will import navbar and group navbar. Then we will say chat layout props, or this should be group layout props, to be React no children, and then export default function chat layout. This should be group layout, and then children, and give it this type, return main, and then flex call height full navbar, group navbar, and then make a new one, make like a padding x50. This is for children, for the main, and we don't have this, so let's just create this navbar, and then we should have all of the navbars. So in components, let's go here in the components folder. I'm gonna say navbar, and inside index/index.tsx. So let's start with some imports. User button from Clerk Next.js, logo from logo, we have this. Select modal, we don't have this yet, but we will make it. Export const navbar, return. Okay, div, so it's height 50 pixels, item center, everything is center, justify between, background, paddings. Select modal that we will create, and then a user button. So if I go ahead, okay, let's actually create this select modal. This will let you select between all of the groups you are in. It will be in your navbar. Yeah, so go here, and say select dash modal.tsx. We will start with use client and imports that you don't need to import now, but as you program. Okay, export const select modal. Current user will be API current user. We made this already. Get group ID from parameters. Group will be use query, and then API groups get, and group ID as ID groups. So get the group by group ID. Groups, so you want to get now all of the groups. So API groups list, which we will implement. Router, use router from next/navigation. And then, so we want to control if the selection modal is open or not programmatically. So open select, set open select, false. Use current user is undefined loading. Current user is null, user not found. Group is undefined loading. Okay, toggle open, set open. So when we click this, it will toggle to open or closed. Handle create a new group. There is a button to create a new group, so we will just push to create, and toggle open, so we will just close. Handle discover, so there is also a button to push to like the home page. This will list all of the groups. Handle select group ID, and then we will push to the group if the user clicks at a group, and toggle open. Return fragment, pop over. Open is going to be open select, and pop over trigger. So when we click inside of this, so we're going to say toggle open, and these are some class names. Group, so if this group exists, let me save this, but it will throw an error because this groups doesn't exist yet. Okay. Okay, so if group is selected, then this is the avatar image, and then this is if this image doesn't work, we just show this. But I think this should be somehow dynamic. I think you should show the image of the group. I'm not sure, but you should be able, like users should be able to upload images, but I think I didn't have time to implement that, so I'm just showing like this image for each group, or just the first name of the group. Okay, and then group name below, next to that image or below that image. If there is no group, just show logo, logo, and then chevron down to open this modal. Okay, so this is the trigger. So this is gonna show, like I will show you. So this is gonna be just like not when you open the modal, but this is just on the top that you click. It's gonna show the current group that you are in, and when you click that, it's gonna drop down the modal to select more groups. So this is the content. Okay, so handle create. So there will be a create button. Create a group. It's a plus button. Let me show you, but I need to comment this. I wanna show you. So here, this is the navbar, and you have create group. If I click this, it will push me to the create. It pushed me here, but let's go back. So let's continue below create group. We're gonna say handle discover, and then compass, and discover group. So this will just put us to the main page, back to the home page, the root. Okay, and then we wanna list each group below, and that's gonna be like, it's gonna have key, it's gonna have some classes. On click, handle select and group ID. So we will select the group. Let me show you. This will just router push to the group ID when we click at a group. Avatar, so we want to show the image. Yeah, this is hard-coded source image, which I didn't have time to make, but and also this is fallback, so you can actually just delete this and have the first letter of the group name to be as image. But I will leave it like that. You should make code functionality for users to upload the image for the group if you want. I didn't have time. So key is so this is group name for each group. Now let's go to the top and import this groups.list, or create. So go to Groups.ts, and below export const list query, args empty object, handler, async, check identity, get user, we did this, okay, get current user, and then if user is null, not found, okay, user groups, get all of the groups of this user. So search by user ID, search groups by user ID, collect, so all of the groups that this user is in. Okay, groups, user groups.map, so for each group we want to do something. We want to get the whole group object. So this is just user groups. I think if we go to schema, we have this user groups here. This is just user ID, group ID, but then we want to, by this group ID, get the whole groups object. So for each user group, we will get the whole group and return group. Resolve groups, await, promise all groups, because this will just going to return a bunch of promises. You see here promise and then these groups. Okay, filter the groups, resolve groups, not filter. So find all of the groups that are not null. So remove all of the groups that have null in them, or null, and then array. And now this is not going to be null, because we're going to say as doc group, so we're going to cast these groups to groups and return filtered. So now if I hover over here, you see it's only doc groups, there is no null. That's it. But let me import this doc from data models. So at first it wasn't showing these groups, but now it's showing all of the groups. And I just waited a bit and refreshed something. If I go ahead, these are all of my groups, so I can click hello group and it will push me here. Now let's go ahead and create /classroom. So go here, groups, group ID, and classroom /page.tsx. This will be a simple page, some imports, course list, which we will create, and an interface will be params group ID. So these are parameters from the URL. And then export default classroom page, get the parameters, give it type, return the div, and then course list. So let's create this course list. Let me copy all of this. So next to the page tsx, we're going to say underscore components course list / index.tsx. So in this index, use client, some imports. Okay, and then interface course list props is going to be group ID, because we will pass this here. Okay, I think, yeah, course list, we can import that immediately. Actually, not yet. We just need to save this classroom page tsx and save this, and it will be imported automatically. And okay, so we're gonna get these props. Courses will be courses.list. Now, we don't have this yet, we will create it. Current user is API users current user. Group is use query API groups get. So get the group, get router from next navigation, is owner of group, current user ID. So we are checking if the current user is same as group owner ID. And then if courses are, so you cannot put this if like above any of these hooks, because hooks cannot render conditionally. So you need to put ifs after the hooks. Okay, so if courses is undefined, still loading. Handle create, we will just classroom create. So this will create a new course, handle create. Okay, return some grids. So this will show the lessons, like in school.com when you have lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3 in a grid. Okay, is owner of group, then we will show something. So we will show the create button. So this is the plus button, plus, and then handle create. This is gonna be a big button. So maybe I should show you, if I comment this and this, and this I will be able to show you. So this is what we have right now. We have this big plus button. It's a part of a grid. There will be one lesson here, and then lessons below. Now we want to go ahead in the course list and map all courses. It's going to be course card, and then we pass in key, title, description of the course, thumbnail, storage ID. It's going to be empty string. Group ID, I think okay, we'll talk about this soon. Group ID and course ID for course card. Now we need to implement courses list. Let's go to the Convex folder down below and say courses.ts. Okay, make some imports. Export const list, it's gonna be query. Arguments group ID. So we wanna query all courses from a group. Handler function. Courses is query courses with index by group ID. So we're gonna query with this group ID and collect everything. So we wanna then add modules to courses. So modules is a separate table, but we wanna add for each course a module. So we need to await and then resolve all promises, because this is going to return promises. Okay, courses.map for each course. We're gonna have some mappings. We're gonna do something. So we pass in the course, and then we say const modules is await query modules with index by course ID. So we have a course by course ID, all modules by course ID, and collect all of them. And then we will return course, so we will spread the course. It will have all of, so this object will have all of these, and then we'll also have at the below title, we'll have modules. Then we want to courses with modules and lessons. So for each course, we want to go for each course. We want to then go modules with lessons. So for each module then. So we need to use promise-all to resolve all promises. Courses.modules.map. So we want a module for each module. We will query lessons by module ID. Query lessons by module ID. So this is the index. This is the execute. This is executes the query. And then return module. So all of this like that. And then below this course ID will be a lesson object. And then we want to return like course, and then modules will be modules with lessons. So here, this is what it's going to look like. Modules that have lessons, array of lessons, and each module has not only array of lessons, but also ID, creation time, title, course ID. And then below modules, there are course details. And then return courses with modules and lessons. Back at the course list, let's make this course card so we can show all of the courses, because right now we are getting them, we're not showing them. Inside of course list, we're gonna make a new and say course card.tsx. Let's go ahead and make some imports. Use router from next/navigation, not next/router. Okay, course card props, title, description, thumbnail, storage ID, group ID, course ID, export const course card, extract all of these, give it a type, const router is use router, handle click. So when we click on a course, we want to go to group ID, classroom, course ID. We want to open that course. Return, and then we're going to give it some like box, shadow, whatever, shadows and stuff. And then on click is handle click. So this is going to be when we click, we're going to go to this course. Okay, height 200 pixels relative, image, so this will be a logo. And then another div, height 140 pixels, title, description, and open. So it seems to me this open button doesn't have on click, but we will just show it there. But we will open it if user clicks wherever here. So let me save everything. nothing is shown because we actually have no courses. So let's create some courses. So in the classroom folder, we will say create/page.tsx. First, use client, and then bunch of imports. You can import this later. Interface, create course props, parameters, group ID is going to be group ID. So these are URL parameters that we will get from URL. And then create course props, export default create course. Const router is use router. Okay, and then we're gonna say use-api-mutation. We will declare initialize this mutation. API courses create. We need to create. This is create course mutation that we will create soon. Okay, title, description, handle create. When somebody creates the course, we say course ID is equal to create. So this is the create mutation, and pass in title, description, group ID. And then we're gonna reset the title and description. And then router.push to that new course that we created. Return. So now we wanna show the creation UI. Make some divs with these values, these heights, lengths, logo, and then description. All of this good stuff. And then we wanna create a course. This is a title. Create your course today and share your knowledge with the world. Input, title, on change, set title, target value. And then same for description. And then create button. Save all of this. We just need to go to courses and make this create. So let's go to courses.ts. Export const mutation. Create. Arguments are going to be title, description, group ID, and then handler function. We can extract all of these arguments. Okay, checking the identity, logged in identity. Looking for the logged in user. Did this all so many times. If user not here, not found. Course ID, we need to insert into the courses table. And the parameters are title, description, group ID is group ID. And return course ID. And I think because this is the same name, we can just also say like this. And that's it, save. So if I go ahead and click this create button, it needs to compile for 10 seconds maybe, but then it will load. So this is our creating page. Course name, web dev, and then hello web dev, learn web dev, create. And everything is reset. Let me go here, courses, we have this new course. Let me go, we're gonna get pushed to this new course, although we have some promise. This is weird. This shouldn't be like this. And let me go back to classroom. So in the classroom, we have this course. And let me click here. It's going to go to that course ID. But I want you to fix here in the create, so group ID, classroom, create page TSX that we were just writing. You want to say here await, I think. Is it not await? So now this is not going to be a promise. It's going to be actual course ID when you create a course. Next, we want to create this course ID page. So classroom/course ID. In your folder structure, where you have classroom, want to create a new file, course ID/page.tsx. Use client, some imports. Okay, the interface, now we're gonna get parameters from URL, but we have course ID, group ID and course ID, both of them. Okay, export default course page, and then const course page, extract parameters, give it course props type, const course, use query, API courses get. So get the course by course ID. We want to get that. If no, not course, and so we're gonna get. We're checking if it's array for some reason. I forgot. I coded this a week ago. I forgot why I'm checking if it's array. Maybe we are returning empty array if there is no course. So we're gonna return loading. We're gonna see why we are doing this when we implement this get function. Okay, and then return some UI to display the course. Curriculum. Course, group IDs, parameters, group ID. I think we don't need this lesson view. But we need this curriculum and we need this get function to get the course. So in the course ID, next to page, we're gonna say underscore components slash curriculum.tsx. And we will also make another file, lesson-view.tsx. So in curriculum.tsx, now I made a bit of a mistake. This is supposed to be, I'm going to rename this to curriculum, not lesson view. So in curriculum.tsx, go and, like, we have some imports that we will, you don't need to import them now, but as we program. And then curriculum props, course, and then it's going to have type courses, but we need to extend. As you remember, we are also passing in modules. And the modules, we also need to extend with lessons. So this is going to be type module and lessons. And there's going to be array of lessons. And then this is array of modules. Then group ID is also getting passed. Export const curriculum. It's going to be course group ID, give it props. Current user, get current user. Get the group by group ID. Get router from next navigation. Selected lesson, because we're gonna be viewing lessons. Handle, edit, click. We're gonna just push to course ID slash edit. Is owner, we're checking if the current user is group owner. And then we will return some div, another div. Okay, if it is owner, we will make a button that lets user edit. So handle, edit, click. We have a pen from Lucid React and edit course. Okay, then we have div book check. This is from Lucid React and course with title. This is icon, this is title course. A course title, yeah. Okay, courses modules map. Now we want to map each module. We're going to give it a key and class name, and then another div, and say component. Now this is also icon from, I think this is icon as well, yeah, from Lucid React. And then give it module title. Show title of the module, and then we want to list every lesson below. So I'm going to make an ordered list. And then module lessons map. So we are mapping modules, and inside of modules we are mapping lessons. Key. Okay, so what is this wizardry? Let me do all. Okay, so this is some wizardry CSS. So if this is selected lesson, we are gonna show this. If not selected, we're gonna show this. And we're always gonna show this. We'll see if this is proper syntax though. I think it is. Okay, let me, so if it's selected, we want to have some hover effect and different background. Okay, on click, set selected lesson to this lesson that we are mapping. Okay, and then case sensitive, I think this is also a Lucid React, Lucid icon. and then lesson title. Below everything, we're gonna say another div and lesson view. So this is gonna be not below, but next to the right side, because this is gonna be a flex container. So this is gonna be the lesson view. So let's create this lesson view. Now I wrote this in lesson view. This should be, I'm gonna first of all delete my curriculum file, because I need to rename this lesson view. This is curriculum.tsx. So we wrote curriculum. Now let me go ahead and say lesson-view.tsx. So in lesson view, some imports, and then props. We're gonna get the lesson. Well, export const lesson view, return some div to display the lesson, another div, case sensitive. This is Lucid React icon, title of the lesson, and then we're gonna say aspect ratio. So this is from ShadCN to have 16:9, and then we will embed a YouTube video, and the source will be, so this is, if you go to YouTube video and share, click share button on youtube.com and then click embed, you're gonna get this iframe code. So basically width, height, everything is already set up. We don't want to touch any of this. We just want to say set source to lesson.youtube URL, and below that another div and say text icon and lesson description, and save all of this. And all of the errors should go, because I don't know why there are errors here. So back in our curriculum, I'm gonna say import from /lesson view like that, and we don't have a name editor, but we are not using it, it seems. So let me just do this, and then I will go back to page TSX in course ID, and I need to fix this. This is import curriculum from curriculum, but we already did that, but so we don't need it, and that's it. Save it. And we don't have this course get. So before I can show you like all of the lessons, we need to get. So let's go to courses.ts, and below we want to create a get query. Arguments is ID of the course we want to get, handler function. Now in this case, for some reason I'm not checking identity if the user is logged in, but maybe you should. But what I'm gonna do is, first I think you should just like copy these two rows maybe and check if user is logged in. If they are not, just throw the error. Anyways, course is gonna be await context database get and then ID of the course. So this will give you the course. If no course, return null. Modules is await context database query modules, and then with index by course ID and collect. Then modules with lessons. So we want to go through each module in the course and map each module. So we're going to say lessons is query lessons with module ID and collect. So okay, so and then just return, so spread the module and add lessons. So look at the type here. It has lessons and then the module like attributes. And we want to return spread the course, spread modules, or not spread, just add modules with lessons. So let me save this. If I go back and check the type here, it's going to be modules, it's going to be the lessons, it's going to be the spreaded modules. Yeah, so this is the modules, and then this is like the rest of the course. So here we have name of the course web dev, but we don't have any like modules, any lessons. So we want to implement edit course now, so we are able to add modules and lessons. Okay, so we have course ID, and we're gonna say edit / page.tsx. Okay, here, use client. A bunch of imports, as always. You can import them later, not now. Course, edit, props, page props. So parameters, we are getting these parameters from URL, group ID and course ID. Export default course edit page. And then const core edit page. Extract parameters. Course will be get the course by course ID. We already know this. Update title is gonna be use mutation API courses update title. We don't have this yet. We will make it. So this is course edit page. It will have all of the editing functionality, like adding modules, lessons, etc. Update description, same mutation. Update description. Current user, get current user. Group, API groups get. So we are getting group by group ID now. Router from next/navigation. Selected lesson. Add lesson. API lessons add. Add module. API modules add. Remove lesson. Remove module. Okay. If course is not loaded, we are saying loading. If it's undefined. Handle edit click. Okay, so this edit click will just return back to our course ID page. So this should be like handle preview click maybe, not a handle edit click. Okay, handle title update. We get input element event. So React change event HTML input element, update title, and pass in the title ID, the title value, and course ID. Handle module title update. Change event HTML input element. Right now, I'm just logging it for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Handle adds lesson. Maybe I did not implement this. Maybe it's your task. If you want to have module title updates, maybe you can implement this. It's same as title updates. I just didn't have maybe time. This is a huge project. I just didn't have more time. Okay, handle add lesson. It's gonna be, we need module ID to add the lesson inside of that module. Add lesson and just pass in module ID. Console log added lesson. Handle add module. We need course ID. Add module, pass in the course ID. Console log add module. Check if logged in user is owner. If it's not owner, return unauthorized. Return. Make some div, another div. If it's owner, and then we go button, handle edit click. So handle edit click is actually like handle preview click that's gonna return back to the course. Okay, full screen icon and preview, yeah, it's preview. Okay, below this we're gonna say book check icon. You don't need to write this. I commented this, so I'm not using this. Input, so this is for title, input field for title. And then we're gonna map all modules below, and we're gonna say div module key, classroom, name, another div, icon component, input for module title, and then another button below. You don't need to write this. And then this button will be remove module button. It will have class name variant, and then remove module. You invoke this and you give in module ID. And trash to icon from Lucid React. Okay, let's list modules or lessons. Yeah, lessons. So we are mapping lessons. Module.lessons.map for each lesson. We want to make a list element key. Class names, so these are the classes that will always happen, but if this lesson is selected, then we will also have like background blue and hover effect, and if it's not selected, then we will just have this hover effect. So the lesson, so On click set selected lesson to lesson. This is similar to the preview page, by the way. Case sensitive icon, and then title lesson, and then button will be a trash button, trash to remove the lesson. On click remove lesson, lesson ID remove lesson. Below that, we're gonna have a button to add lesson. So handle add lesson, on click, and pass in module ID. Plus icon, and add lesson. We're also gonna have to add module. It will just add module, course ID, plus add module. Below, we're gonna have a lesson editor view. It's gonna be to the side because this is Flexbox. So on the side of the screen, we're gonna have lesson editor view. So if selected lesson, and we're gonna display then a lesson editor view. If we scroll up to imports, we are not using name editor. We are not using lesson view. We are using lesson editor view. So we need to go make /components and lesson editor view. So next to the page, inside of this edit, make a new file, _ component / lesson editor view.tsx. In lesson editor view, a bunch of imports as always. Let's start with lesson editor view props. That's going to be lesson editor view, and extract lesson. Title will be use state lesson title. Description will be set and use state description. Video URL is use state YouTube URL. Okay, then we have mutation. Mutation will be API lessons update. We will rename mutate to update. Use effect. When lesson changes, set title to the new title, new video URL, new description. Handle save. We're gonna just call invoke update mutation and pass in the object. Lesson ID, title, description, URL, YouTube URL. Toast success, lesson updated. Okay, but then we wanna make some div, another div, case sensitive icon, and then input, placeholder title, value title, on change set title, input, YouTube video URL, so value video URL, on change set video URL, another div. This is just the description. Another description, aspect ratio again, iframe from YouTube as I explained, video URL as source, and then another div text icon, and then input for description, and then button save everything. So if I save all of this, we just need to go ahead and create these lessons. So let's go to Convex folder, lessons.ts. So a few imports, and then export const add mutation. Arguments are going to be module ID. So we will just add the lesson to this module. Handler, extract this. Check identity of the logged in user. Okay, if nobody is logged in, throw error, but if they are logged in, we're going to say context database insert into lessons, and we need to pass in module ID, title is new title, description, new lesson description, YouTube URL empty string, and this will return lesson ID. Return lesson ID. Okay, below, let's say remove lesson mutation, arguments is lesson ID. The same thing, handler, check identity, and then just await context database delete lesson. Below that, update. Arguments, title, description, URL, lesson ID. The same thing again, check identity, and then just patch. So patch with lesson ID, title, description, URL, and that's it. If we go back to So we now should have, we have this, it will fix, it will stop throwing an error. Now let's go to courses and update title and update description. So in courses.ts, update title is mutation. Arguments is ID of the course that we need to update and title, string, handler, and just patch at ID the title. Update description, ID of the course and description string, handler, and patch at ID, patch the description. That's it. Let's go back. We got this. Okay, so we don't have modules. Let's create modules. Here in Convex, below, modules.ts, imports, const add mutation, arguments is course ID that we want to add a module to, handler, check identity, lesson ID. So, oh wait, this should be module ID, not lesson ID, but we want to insert into modules. We want to say course ID and title, and title is new module. For now, we will be able to change it in editing. And then return lesson ID, but this should be module ID, not lesson ID. Okay. And then remove mutation, so remove the module, arguments, module of ID of the module that we want to remove, handler, check identity, and then context database delete, module ID. And then update title, arguments, ID of the module and title, handler, await context database patch, ID, so patch at ID, patch the title. That's it for modules. So now at my edit page, let me test all of this. So if I say add module, there is a new module, okay. Add lesson, there is a new lesson, I can click that. I can say like edit name, YouTube URL. Let me just say this URL as an example. And that should be it. Yeah, it's gonna show the immediately, and then I can edit description. This is new description. So now everything works. I can add another module, I can add another lesson, I can rename the lesson. What's up course. If I save, it's gonna be what's up course, but I did not save this one, so it didn't. But if I now go back to preview, there is new lesson, there is what's up course. And let me go back to edit, and in here in what's up course, I wanna just copy this example URL and paste it here. And I wanna save lesson updated, and we wanna preview. And then if I go what's up course, there is this lesson. So the classroom seems to be done. We can create a new course, we can open a course, we can click here the lesson and then watch the lesson. Now if you want, you can make all of this look a bit different, a bit better, a bit prettier, spend more time. But let's continue with members page. Here where it says group ID, let's create new inside a group and say members.page.tsx, so /page tsx. In members page, use client, bunch of imports, interface member page props, and parameters group ID from the URL. So where this is going to be, it's going to be in the group ID /members. So we can get this from URL. Okay, then const members page. Extract parameters and export default members page, and then const members is API groups get members. I don't know if we have this, but we will make it. Get members of the whole of the group. Current user is going to be the current user. Okay, and then group is going to be get the group by group ID. This group. Okay, so if members is loading, group is loading, current user is loading. If anything is undefined. If anything is null, then it's not found. That's how use query works. Okay, check if logged in user is owner. Group owner is current user ID. Okay, then let's go and say if it's owner, add members. So we have this like add member component we will create so they can add members. Members.map. For each member we have a member card and we will display. So let's create these two components. In members, so members next to page, we're gonna say underscore components add / member.tsx, add dash member. In the add members, let's make some imports. Add members props is gonna get group ID. So export const add members, do all of this boilerplate, and then email, and then mutate. So users.add to group. This is a mutation for users to be added to group. Handle add member, try, mutate, and then group ID and email. And then catch. If there is an error, just say something went wrong. So this mutation is from this that we created. I explained this earlier in the video. W width is 450 pixels. Add a user with email, and then input for the email, and then button is add. That's gonna be add member tsx. Next to that, create member card tsx, and let's write something here. Some imports. Member card props, so member is gonna be doc users, and then the boilerplate for the component, group ID, use parameters. So we will extract group ID from the URL. Next / navigation, this is important. Okay, get group by group ID. You need to cast it. This is string. You need to cast it as ID of groups. Formatted date. Format from date FNS, and then we're just gonna format the date of the member. So when the member joined the group or the platform, I'm not sure. I think when the member joined the platform. Okay, and then return some div. So this is gonna show the member. This is a member card, so it will show member. Avatar of the member, image will be member profile URL, or if this doesn't exist, then the first character of the member, name. Then below, some divs, member name, and if the member is owner, so check if member is owner, then we say owner. Below that, member about, and then calendar icon, and then joined at formatted date. Yes, but this is joined the whole application, not just the group. So you can save this. We need to create users add to group here, but you can save this as well. And this, get members. So we need to create a few of these. So let's first go to Users.ts. So export const add to group mutation. Arguments email group ID. So email of the user to add a group ID. Handler. Check identity. If there is nobody logged in, throw an error. Okay, then get the current user with this token identifier. You cannot get the current user by calling users.currentUser because this is a mutation. And you cannot call other mutations and queries from a mutation. You can call it if this was action, but don't use actions. It's better to use it this way. Mutations are more secure. So just get the current user manually by querying the database for the currently logged in user. If there is no user not found, get the group by group ID. If there is no group not found, okay. Current user ID group owner ID. So user is not owner of the group. We are checking if the user is owner. Maybe we should just return here. So new user. We're gonna query users and by email and get the user object. If user is null, user not found. We wanna then insert user groups. We wanna add to this table, and user will be new user ID and group ID. So that's it. And I think I just wanna, what is this? Group must have owner ID. This should exist, but I think just import this v, and then the error will go away. And user is not owner of the group, but I think it's better to just return, not throw an error here. Okay, that's it. Now let's go to groups and get members. So let's go to Groups.ts below everything. We're gonna say get members. That's gonna be query, and group ID that we want to get members from. Handler. Members is context database dot query user groups with index by group ID and collect. Resolve members is gonna be await promise all members.map async member. So we wanna go through all of the members, and we wanna get each user object, each member object. This is just like members is just like a bunch of IDs. Yeah, so it's user ID, group ID. So we wanna use this user ID to get the whole user object. Okay, so user is gonna be get the user by member ID, and then we wanna return user. And because promises are resolved, this is going to be an array of users. But I think we need to filter nulls, users that are null. So filtered members is resolved members. Resolved members just means like resolved promises. Okay, so resolved members filter. So members that are not null, and cast it as doc users. So this is gonna be a bunch of like user objects. Then return filtered members. So this will just get an array of members. That's why we are checking if member is an array. No, we are not. Okay, never mind. So if we go to group/members, we see that I am the member and I am the owner. Now I can add more members, but let me log out and create a new account so I can add that account. We have a bit of a problem here because we don't have anything. There is no way for me to reach the group. But I think, how do I even log out now? Oh my God. So let's fix this UI first. So in the home page, so let's go back to home page, page TSX. Let's make a new layout.tsx. In the layout, import navbar that we created. Give it interface, take the children, because these children in the layout file will be all this page and all of the pages inside of this, like all of the inside of this folder. Okay. Chat layout, so just export default function chat layout, extract children, and then return something. Main, navbar, age full, height full, and children. Save it. Now I'm at least able to sign out, but let's actually just like list all of the groups here on the home page. So let's go here and create folder underscore components, and there is a group-list.tsx and group-card.tsx. In the group list, bunch of imports. Okay, then we have export const group list. Get all groups, all groups, not just like the current groups of the current user, but all groups. Router from next/navigation. Handle create. This is to create a new group. We will have that button. If groups is undefined, loading. This loading is our auth loading. Okay. If groups is null, then return. Create a group. If group is 0, then we will create have this button. Otherwise, we're gonna make a grid of groups, groups map, and group card. So we will just map groups, and in each group in a card. Let's go to group card. Imports. So we will receive a group, the boilerplate, router from navigation, and then handle click. When we click a group in a group card, we will just push to that group. Return, scroll area. So this is just handle click and then some class names, group name, group description. That's it. Now we can go back to where group cards should be imported automatically. Yeah, it is. Now in groups, list all. So let's go to groups. Let's go below everything. This is very easy. List all, query, no arguments, handler function, check identity, groups, just query groups and collect. So there is no filtering, just query all groups and return groups. This will list all groups. And now we need to go back to the page.tsx and just uncomment this group list. I want to remove this hello. Oh my god. Like this. And I want to import the group list as well. Save. Let's see here. So it is loading. And we have these 3 groups. And if I go ahead and I click a group, we are inside of this group. We can click join, but I think we should not be able to see. Like, am I able to write a post? I shouldn't be able to write a post in this group. Why am I able to write a post? I'm not approved to join. Okay, we need to fix this. So I switch to the other account and I go here members, and I can add shifter044@gmail.com. Add error, user not found. I think I misspelled because right now the user is found. And also if the user is not found, maybe I don't want to throw an error. Maybe I just want to return, but you can see what you want to do. Okay, so now I added this member successfully, so this person should have access to this group, but not to this group, for example, because this is only me. Let's create /about. This is one of the last things we need to do. So let me go here to, we need to go to about group ID, app, group ID, and about /page.tsx. In here, use client, import ID from this, import about. We need to create this, I think. Okay. Chat page props. Oh my god, this is about page props, not chat page props. We want to get group ID from the URL. Group, the boilerplate, the classic boilerplate here, return some div, and about component. That's it. And now we need to create this. So let's go into about and just copy paste like components, join group page. .tsx. So this is the page that tells you like join the group. So this join group page, use client, some imports, interface. We're gonna get group ID, the boilerplate, get group by group ID, get current user, get router, check if this stuff is loading, if group is still being loaded, and then if group is null, then return back to homepage. Handle edit, push to group ID edit. Okay, so I think if owner, we need to check if owner will be able to click edit. members text the same, like if it's one member, it's member, if it's multiple members or 0, then members. Return div, another div inside, group name. Okay, so if group has about URL of the YouTube video, then we will show it in iframe. Source group about URL. And then title YouTube video provider. And then class name. Now, guys, I'm not sure, again, for this project, I'm not sure, I don't know if we have, like, if we made to set this anywhere, the YouTube, like, about URL. So you can either remove this or keep it, or maybe add your quick, like, input field or something, because this, like, it took too much time to make this. Okay, group description below. And then about side, this, we already made this, so this is like the about section on the side. So I think if I just go ahead and show you, let me refresh. Yeah, we do have like editing about, so if I click edit, we need to make this, so it's groupid/edit, so we need to make this so we can edit our about page. So let's go here to groupId and make edit/page.tsx. So here in this page tsx, use client and batch of imports. We're getting group ID, the boilerplate. Okay, we're gonna get group by group ID. Why am I hard coding this? This should be group ID. Okay, we're gonna fix this. This should be the group ID. Okay, get current user and router. And then group, if group is still loading, show loading. Group is equal to null. If there is no group, go back to home page. Current user is going to be router push. Current user is going to be question mark ID group owner. Yeah, check if the current user is not owner, then just go back to group. They cannot edit this. Members text, same. Some like divs and stuff displays. Let me see. Name editor for editing the name, and then group about URL. Then we're gonna display this iframe again, and then title, allowed, class name, whatever, and then group description below. But I think this group description should not be inside of about URL. We need to fix both of these. Okay, below that, there is a group name, and then say private group, short description, group members, member number. This is just join. I don't know why I have join here. This is editing page. Now we need to, before we fix all of this, we need to go make these components name editor. So next to the page, components name editor.tsx. And then we will use client, imports, interface. We're gonna get ID of the group and name of the group, boilerplate, input ref. We need to reference this text area because we will automatically save as soon as users defocuses the input field. Click somewhere else. Is editing, value of the name, update, mutation, so groups update name, we need to make this. Enable input, set is editing true, and set timeout, set value, name. Okay, let me see what the hell this is. Const input element, input ref current, input ref. So what we are doing here, well, let me see. I forgot what this is. What is this selection range? Maybe we will figure it out. Why do I have set timeout? I forgot. Because I think I want this to execute like after set is editing or something. I'm not sure. Like, let's see. Disable editing. It's just gonna set editing to false. On input, value string, set value to value, and update, and then pass in the ID and name, or untitled if there is no value. So this is whenever I change the input on the input. We'll see where we call this. On key down, keyboard event, HTML text area element. If key is enter, prevent default and disable editing. So we will just save the name. Okay. Okay, so if he's editing, show the text area auto size. Do we need to install this? React text area auto size. I don't know if you need to install this. If this is, maybe you need to install this. Okay. Ref, it's gonna be input ref. So here we are defining the if it's focused, we are checking if it's focused. To when it gets unfocused, then you save the name. I'm not sure. So on blur, disable editing. Yeah, on blur is like on unfocus. On blur, disable editing, and on key down, value is value, the name value, and then class names on change we will just update the value, and max length 60. And when it's not editing, we will show click enable input. So when I click, we will start enabling the editing, and then some class names, and just show the name. That's it. I think we just need to install this if you don't have this, and groups update name. In Groups.ts, update name mutation, and then the classic boilerplate. Arguments are gonna be ID of the group and name string, and handler function. Check identity. And then name is gonna be arguments name trim. We wanna trim from white spaces, I think, and trailing white space and new lines. If there is no name, name is required. I think you should just return, not throw an error. Okay, name length, if more than 60, name cannot be longer than 60. Gig, this should not be, so we are getting, what are we getting? Arguments, so the group, so this should be group, not gig. Group, we're getting group by group ID, and return group. And that's it. Let me rename to group. Yeah, the first thing is our hard-coded ID for some reason. So go back to the edit, page TSX, and this hard-coded ID, what is that? It's group ID. And we don't need to cast because it's already has this type. Okay, so we are gonna have to fix something, guys. So in the group ID edit, page TSX here, currently for you it's like this, but you need to edit props need to be parameters, and then like this, and then extract parameters here, not group ID but parameters. You don't need to console log, but just say ID is parameters.group ID, and now it will load. So this is our title. This is title, and if I defocus, it will save. And it doesn't matter which group, I think all of the groups work. So if I go about edit, and I can edit title, and if I defocus, it will save. So the first problem we need to solve is when we go to a group and we create a post, the content will throw error because this is the but content must be JSON, not like this. So I'm going to delete this latest post, refresh. So we need to remove that. So go to create post modal, and I'm just going to actually just comment out this text area. So we cannot write content while we are creating the post. We will first just create a post. So this should be commented. Yeah, okay, so new post, create, and then I can go ahead and write content here. So this is a quick and easy fix. You can also maybe implement like the whole content editing, content editor if you want in the create modal. Let's add ability to edit description in about. So this is what we're gonna add. Okay, so first, instead of saying join, let's say preview here. Let's delete this group description, and below that, let's have, below, like all of this group about URL, let's have the following thing. So description editor, It's editable for now, true. We will change this. Group ID is params group ID. Class names, no class names. And initial content is group description. Let's create this. So create this in here. So components, description editor tsx, create that. Description editor, use client and a bunch of imports. Make sure to import like fonts, inter CSS, block node. So this is block node that I was talking about earlier. Okay, description editor props, group ID, initial content, editable and class name. The boilerplate. So the boilerplate is extract all of this stuff, give it type. Update is use mutation, API groups, update description. You don't have this, but we will make it. Editor will be use, create block node, and pass in initial content, and then column, initial content, check if it exists. So initial content is going to be, first we check if initial content exists, then it's going to be JSON parse initial content. But if initial content doesn't exist, then it's going to be undefined. So initial content will be undefined. And this initial content is like this. Okay. Handle change. If editor document exists, then we say we calculate the content length. If length is less than 40,000, then we will update the description of the ID group ID description. Or if the toast, so if it's more than 40,000, then content is too long, not saved. Duration 2 seconds. Icon alert octagon. And then we're going to return block node view, editor, editable, theme light, on change, handle change, and class name. Let's go to groups and implement this function. Let me start from the beginning. Update description is going to be args, and we get in this ID of the group and the description. Handler is going to be, we first check identity, check the identity, and then description, we just trim. No description is required. Description length is more than 40,000, description is too long. But it will not be because we are already checking in the front end. Okay. Group, await content. Okay, so we want to patch the group and we want to update the description field with args description and return group. That's it. Go back to the edit, so group ID and edit and import like this and save. And now we can add the description. Welcome to our group. And I'm gonna make this bold and I'm gonna make it maybe heading 1. We are here to help. So when I'm done editing, I'm gonna click here preview. Well, the preview will not do anything because we need to code this. So right now you don't have it. So just say on click. So in the group ID edit page tsx, say router.push and then slash params group ID like this. And if we go to about, it still doesn't show, doesn't display the description. So let's fix that. But before we fix that, let's in the edit group ID edit, let's fix this true, editable true. We need to check if the owner is like, if the current user is owner. So we're gonna have a few issues actually here, it seems. So this user can be null or undefined. So let's fix that first. So if group is null or current user is undefined, not null, then return loading. If current user is null or group is null, return like push, and then we don't need this question mark. And so we need to go ahead here, copy this, and instead of true, say if current user ID is equal to group owner ID, then this will be editable. Yeah, now it is editable. So let's copy this description editor And let's go to class now about page tsx, about here. So join group page, and just at the bottom, so instead of this, I already said we need to delete this. We don't need this like group description here. We're just gonna say here description editor, and I'm gonna say editable false because this is not editor. This is just like the description display. And group ID, do we have that? We have it, so we don't need to say parameters, just say group ID like this. Okay, so here is the description. I made kind of more serious description. So I can also embed an image because that's what the editor, this editor allows us. So go to the plus and just here image and embed image URL from Google or somewhere. So that's it. So the first issue we had is we were not able to edit module names. If you check right now, you're not able to. So let's fix that. So in the classroom course ID edit, scroll down where you are listing modules, courses modules map, and then just instead of this part input, let's remove that, and let's put this module name editor, ID, module ID, name, module title, and key, this. And then let's create this. So we're going to create this component here in components next to this page, module name editor. And let me remove this. Let's start from the beginning. Use client, imports, props, so ID name, boilerplate, input ref. So this is going to be the same as name editor for the other name editor that we made. Is editing, value of the name, update, so use mutation, API modules, update title, enable input, set is editing, set timeout, set value, and then like get the reference to input element. So then we wanna, I forgot what I used this for. I'm sorry, I just forgot what I use this for. Okay, disable editing, set editing to false, yeah, on input, set value to value, and update ID of the module and title of the module. On key down, so if key is enter, we prevent default and disable editing. Okay, then return, if is editing, show text area auto size, and ref, input ref on blur disable editing, on key down, value, and then on change you set the value, so just call on input. It will set value and update. And max length 60. The other div, enable input, when it gets clicked, it will just show the name. That's it. Another thing we are missing is comments. So if I click comments right now, nothing happens. So let's go back to the post modal. So group ID, components, post modal. Let's uncomment this comment. So let's create this comment list. Let me uncomment it here as well. Next to post modal, we will create a new file, comment list /index.tsx. We want to have multiple components in here in comments. Okay, so in comment list, let's do some imports. Interface, comment list props, post, and then we're going to extend that with likes, comment author, and then comment list, the boilerplate, scroll ref, comments, use query API comments list. So we're going to list all of the comments. We don't have this yet, and pass in the post ID, or it's going to be empty array. Use effect, scroll to bottom. So when comments change, when new comments is added, we want to scroll to the bottom. So the new comment is displayed. Scroll to bottom will be scroll ref.current, current, scroll into view, and then behavior smooth. So we are gonna scroll this whatever has this ref. It's gonna be the div at the bottom into the view. So div comment input This is just like the comment input, like the field. And then scroll area, max height. So these are the comments. And we're gonna make a div. So comments map, comment card, and just pass in some props, comment author, etc. And then div is scroll ref. So we will scroll this into view, so all of the bottom comments are gonna be in the view. So there is this like weird underline. I'm not sure like what this is and how to fix it. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead. Here we need to implement this comment card and comment input. So next to index, let's say comment card.tsx, and let's also make comment input.tsx. So in comment input, imports, props, post ID, boilerplate. Okay, add, it's gonna be comments.add mutation. Then comment set comment, handle add, await add, and then this post invoke the mutation and set comment, reset the comment string, handle key down, enter. So when somebody says enter, we are going to handle add. Then new div, input, write a comment, value comment. On change, we're gonna set the value, and on key down, we're gonna like do this. Okay, and then button is like add comment. So if we save this, this will be input field and button add comment. Now let's go to comment card. So in the comment card, some imports, props, comment and author, boilerplate, time ago. So when the comment is created, current user, is owner, check the comment, author is current user, and then the mutation. So use-api-mutation, comments remove, and mutate and pending, handle remove, remove, and then div is owner, and then so if it is the owner, then we can like have remove button, trash button. If it's not the or for anybody else and owner as well, we want to show avatar image, so author.profile URL or author name character at 1 if there is no at 0 if there is no author profile name. Div author name, time ago, and comment content. And let's save this, but we need to fix this. Let's go to Convex, a new file, convex.tsx, comments.ts. First, let's do the imports, then add mutation, and arguments will be post ID and content. So we're gonna add a comment to this post, and the comment will have this content. Then handler, get the identity, get the user from that identity. If user is null, return. Okay, let's first insert a comment. So insert into comments, and post ID will be post ID, content, author is user ID, logged in user ID, and then return comment ID. This is for adding comment. Okay, let's list all comments. So query, and then post ID, handler, comments, query comments. So we want to query all comments with index by post ID. So we want to query by post ID and collect. That means that is like execute this query and collect all comments. Okay, so comments with authors. Now to each comment we want to add the author, like the whole user object. So await promise all, comments map, async comment, const author is get comment.author ID. So you can get entry by just passing in ID. That's gonna be author. It's gonna be user or null. If no author, author not found. And then just return spread the comment and author. So this will have the comment fields and then author field. and return comments with authors. That's it. Comments with listing all comments with authors, so we can display like name, like user image and name of the author and everything. Now remove comment. So comment ID, handler, and delete with this ID, the entry with this ID, and that's it. Let's save this. The moment of truth. If I can, yeah, there is a number of comments. I can write a comment. This is so good. Add comment. And now there's another comment, new comment, less than a minute ago. Good luck, and then add comment. And there is another comment, and I can delete this comment. Okay, so comments work. Let's go. Comments work. There is one comment. Hey. And then it's going to say there are two comments. It works. One thing that we are not doing right now is, okay, actually my classroom looks actually very nice. Oh my god, my screen was zoomed in the whole time. LOL. This is what it actually looks like. Oh my god. This is what it actually looks like. Yeah, this looks a lot better when it's not zoomed in like crazy. One thing we are not doing is we are not checking if the Stripe payment was successful. So let's go and we need to check that, and we need to disable the group if the Stripe payment is successful. Is not successful. So convex, and let's make a new file, http.ts. So if you remember from earlier beginning of the video, we are sending a webhook when a payment is successful to our /stripe, so to our website /stripe. So we need to create a /stripe route. So let's go some imports, and then const http is http router, and then default export http, and then http.route, and then passing arguments. So path is /stripe. So it will be whatever our URL is /stripe, and that's where we will get the webhooks for Stripe. Method post, handler http action. So let's continue with handler. Okay, so first we're gonna get the signature. You need to just know this. You need to just write it like this. So signature string, request headers get, Stripe signature as string. So we need to verify that it's Stripe. Result, await, run action, internal Stripe fulfill. We don't have this yet, we will make it. So this is to fulfill the order. And pass in signature and pass in payload. Payload is going to be, I'm not sure what is payload. The payload is gonna be like either subscription or payment, like some information, the group ID and all of that stuff. And then if result is success, so we will, this will return a result, our fulfill function that we will create. And then we will return new response to be 200 success, or new response webhook error 400. So that's it for HTTP. Now let's create stripe.ts. But it already exists, it seems. So let's go here, stripe.ts. We have pay. We need to make fulfill as well. Below, we will make a fulfill, and that's going to be internal action. So import this, so we cannot call this from client, only internally. So here in HTTP, we say internal Stripe fulfill. Okay, arguments is signature, string, and payload string. Handler, so instead of saying context, we can just extract from context run query and run mutation, because actions have like context.run query, context.run mutation, if you are using action here. And we will extract, instead of saying arguments, we will just extract the signature and payload. Okay, so first we will create a new stripe with process and next stripe secret key and API version, the latest one. Webhook secret is process and stripe webhook secret, so we have that. Okay, then try catch block. Event is Stripe webhooks, construct event async, and then payload, signature, and webhook secret. So we need to pass all of these to construct this event. Okay. After that, we need completed event is event.data.object as Stripe checkout session. So we need to cast this into not only Stripe checkout session and extend that type with metadata. So we are passing in some metadata, so this metadata object is as here, group ID as we defined here. Okay. And then if event type checkout session completed, then we will say subscription is await Stripe subscriptions retrieve completed event subscription as string. So when user pays, we get this subscription. And then group ID is completed event metadata group ID. So we get the group ID. And then run mutation, internal groups, update subscription. We don't have this, but we will have it. And then passing group ID, subscription ID, and ends on, when the subscription ends on. We want to update subscription for this group. Guys, I just want to ask if I'm talking too quickly. Maybe I'm talking too quickly, so I need to maybe talk slower. Okay, so this happens when the subscription is bought for the first time. But when subscription is continued, then it will be a different event. It will be invoice payment succeeded. And then we need to, again, retrieve the subscription, same as here. Subscription ID, run mutation, internal groups, update subscription by ID. And subscription ID and ends on. So invoice payment succeeded doesn't have group ID, but it only has subscription ID. But we don't need group ID because we have the subscription ID that's being like paid for the second, third, fourth time. Return success true. And then if there is an error, and then we're going to return false error. There is a bunch of typecasting here. Error as message string dot message. So that's it. Let's go into groups and create these two, subscription and subscription by ID updates. So in the Groups.ts, update subscription, so const update subscription, internal mutation, we will import this. And then argument subscription ID, string group ID, ID groups, ends on number. Handler, extract all this stuff. Patch group ID. Subscription ID, ends on, ends on. That's it. Okay, so this is for creating a new subscription. And now for updating existing subscription when user pays. Update subscription by ID, arguments, subscription ID and ends on, and handler. Get the user. Oh no, this is group. Get the group. This should be named group. So await query groups by subscription ID. Must be unique. And then if there is no group, group not found. And then we want to patch. So just ends on, change ends on. And let me import this internal mutation. That's it. So this should work. So right now, if we go into groups, there is no entry for like subscription ID or ends on. So these groups should be completely disabled. And I'm going to make them disabled. But let's first go here and create a new group. And group name, let's say Python create. And this should push me to the subscription, Stripe subscription. And then I want to pay and subscribe. And that it's successfully paid, I should look, get a new group. And why is there no subscription ID? Why is there no updates? Let me see. Guys, I think for me the subscriptions are not working because I exceeded the starter plan limits. Yes, so the webhooks, the HTTP points are not working, but for you it will work, I think. And also, I think if you have like a group, you will have a field that says ends on and like some number, but it will be a number. So you should have like just this number that ends on. That will be a date in the future, and that should happen. That should be created by Stripe by calling your HTTP endpoint. And so we can check this to just to go to the like group and disable the group if there is no subscription. The way you can check for the subscription is go to app group ID page and just here below, if not group ends on, so we don't need this. Wait, maybe Yeah, we need that. Okay, so if this doesn't exist, or group ends on is less than day.now, then we will just return subscription expired. So here in this group, subscription expired because I don't have it, but classroom and stuff still works. So we want to add this to the classroom as well. And there is probably a better way of handling this, but I just don't have time to implement this. So, I mean, you can implement maybe like option to renew subscription, for example. So I want to go here and go like this if group doesn't exist, but also const group is equal to use query and say what was it, API / groups / get, and then pass in params.groupId, like that. But we need to say ID column params ID, so that will work. And because we are using use query, we need to say use client here. So I'm showing subscription expired in classroom as well, but there is no way currently to renew the subscription. I'm sorry, I don't have time to implement it, but we will show members and about. So I think just generate, make a button here, and then that's gonna invoke the pay from stripe.ts, the pay function, and I think just pass in like the arguments, and it's gonna be able to like make a checkout session. So, and then that's gonna update the ID, the subscription actually, not the ID. But if I go here to my software developer group, and we have subscription here, so here in software developer, and now it's in Python. So in Python group works, but the problem is, why does software developer group work? Let me see. Because I cut this, you need to have this, I just cut this from the, so software developer should not work. Yeah, subscription expired, but in Python, it should work. It works. I can add posts. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. There are a few things I did not have time to implement, but if you understand how I implemented all of this, and maybe even if you watch a few of my videos, then you will be able to implement everything, all other like functionalities that you need.